Rebates to dealer cannot be combined, plus tax and fees. Discounts from MSRP offer expires 7/30/19.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Augusta Flight Center, with the largest and most diverse fleet of rental aircraft in central Kansas. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
I'm Stephanie Austin. One man was critically injured in a shooting in Wichita overnight, and police are searching for the suspected gunman. The incident happened in the area of 17th and Poplar around 11:20 last night. Police arrived to find a 47-year-old man with a gunshot wound to the chest. The man's injuries are serious, but not life-threatening. Police spokesperson Charlie Davidson said that the victim told officers he was walking when an unknown suspect fired multiple shots at him. If you have any information about the shooting, you're asked to contact authorities. A 37-year-old man who stole nearly $400,000 in property from a Wichita home has been sentenced to nearly 3.5 years in prison. Investigators say that Samuel Haley took antique jewelry and other property from an East Wichita home in April of 2017. The Wichita Eagle reports that Haley was arrested after a man that he contacted about the jewelry called police. It's time to see what's going on in sports. Here's Anthony Georges.
Kansas City Chiefs fans got a big scare yesterday. It was reported at training camp that star wide receiver Tyreek Hill went down with an apparent knee injury. After further report, it was said Tyreek Hill limped over to the training tent and then was taken off with a cart up to the training center. After further evaluation, Tyreek Hill has a quad contusion and is expected to be just fine after some treatment. The injury happened when Tyreek Hill was going up against Bashad Breeland, a newly picked up Chief, on a pass play. From the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Anthony Georges.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-357-1583 today to save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-357-1583 to take your call now. Call 800-357-1583. That's 800-357-1583. Again, 800-357-1583.
Baseball season is in full swing. It's a good thing Matt secured his denture with Super Poly Grip. Now he can enjoy the snacks as much as the game.
Poly Grip. Hey, how are you? So great to see you.
It's that time of year when the family meets up.
Hi, come on. Get together, guys. Family photo.
It's a good thing Jack cleans his denture with Polydent so he can enjoy the whole day with confidence.
Polydent.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
The Trump administration says it's setting up a system that will let Americans legally buy lower-cost prescription drugs from Canada. The Food and Drug Administration will still have oversight, but drug wholesalers and pharmacists will be able to sell them to consumers. South Korea says it's not helpful to tensions on the Korean peninsula. North Korea firing off 2 more ballistic missiles, their second launch in less than a week. Correspondent Barbara Starr is at the Pentagon.
This is the 3rd time now since May that North Korea has launched this type of short-range missile in what is a test firing. So it is getting attention from military experts in South Korea, in Japan, and in the United States.
The White House says China has agreed to ramp up purchases of American agricultural exports. The announcement coming after the closeout of trade talks in Shanghai. Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham saying those talks were constructive. I'm Jan Johnson.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Lots of pressure on our grains and soybeans rolling through Wednesday. September corn down 4.5 at 406 3/4. September KC wheat down 6 1/4 at 427 1/4. December down 6 1/4, 444 3/4. August soybeans down 9.5, 869 1/4. September down 10.5, 873 3/4. Soybean meal and soybean oil are tracking lower too. Not a lot of positives in our grains and soybeans Things in the livestock complex, pretty similar. August live cattle down 20 at 107.90. All the back months are down. August feeders down 117 at 141.92. Once again, all the later months are lower, and they're lower by $1 or more in feeder cattle. August hogs down 50 at 81.80. October hogs down 165 at 72.35. So a tough go so far in the livestock complex. Cotton is a bright spot. October cotton 21 points higher at 63.08. Market information from Mid-America Ag Network.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Derby Mattress. No dancing animals, no gimmicks. Your locally owned hometown mattress store at 105 South Baltimore in Derby.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Mostly sunny and windy, high 96, winds gusting up to 30 miles an hour. Tonight, still breezy, partly cloudy and 76. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and hot, high 98, wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour. Chance of showers and storms tomorrow night. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 11:06, it's currently 82 degrees.
Join me for the Brian Kilmeade Show weekdays at 8 a.m. until 11, right here on the Big Talker 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM.
It's time for Reason.
That's the nature of the beast right now, so let's talk about conservatism, because we can win when we talk about the ideas. And people can't argue with it, because we win on platform when we actually argue the platform, rather than go into these rhetorical bumper sticker type arguments.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, welcome into the Voice of Reason. Boy, oh boy. What a debate last night. Now, I have to admit, I did not watch the entire thing, nor did I want to watch that entire thing. I saw a little bit, and I'm like, I don't need to see them eating their own. It's entertaining. That's what we enjoy. That's what we like to do. But you know what? Boy, they can do their own thing. They can go nuts. There is, did you see the story about, of course, Williamson? She's the author up there. She's a little bit more on the airy side. And I can't believe that Democrats are actually advocating this way, because it really did show last night the purity of the party and the way that you better get in line. Again, we've mentioned this many times before. They do not like someone stepping out on their own. They do not like someone actually deciding things on their own. They do not like independent thought within the Democrat ranks. It kind of proved our point last night, and it was hilarious to watch, because anytime that they disagreed with ultimate socialism, ultimate free giveaways, ultimate free college, ultimate free Medicare for all, then they got attacked, they got abused, they almost got beaten up just as badly as what Donald Trump does. The only word that did not come out of their mouth was that they were racist for not allowing people to actually get free health care based on a forced Medicare for all system. That's about that's about where they drew the line. That's it. Because outside of that, you are not a real Democrat. You're telling us that we can't do stuff. You're trying to run as president and say that we actually have limits on what we're allowed to do and what we should be changing. I can't believe you would do that. They went after some of these individuals that are a little bit more on the moderate side. Now, moderate, I mean as in a traditional progressive liberal individual, but like Bill Clinton style liberalism, not like Bernie Sanders style liberalism. And because now we've shifted and we've had the pendulum swing so far to the left, so far to Crazyville, is that now if you are on the traditional liberal value list, then you're now a radical. You're now not part of the Democrat Party, and you shouldn't be there. It really happened. I mean, what was his name? John Delaney. That was saying, well, you know what? People actually have. There's a lot of people that have actual private insurance plans in the country, and we can't just forcefully take them off of that. There's people that enjoy their health care. There's people that actually do well with their private health care. There's people that actually have affordable health care, and it's all done through the private option. Yeah, we believe that health care is a right. Yes, we believe that we should have a public option, but we shouldn't force people to get off of that and go into a public option. We should give them the option to do so. And did you hear the anger? Did you hear that? Oh, man. Between Bernie Sanders, that was just a bitter, angry old man that reminded me of John McCain. Either you step in line with me or get the hell out of the way. That was Bernie Sanders last night, throwing his arms up in the air. Oh, my friends, it's an human right. It's an human right. And heck with you if you don't believe in human rights. Elizabeth Warren saying, Did you hear her? She actually shut down the crowd. I don't know if you heard that. Let me see if I can find that individual clip. She actually shut down the crowd because they laughed at her, and she got angry about
And
it.
I'd like to finish talking about Addie, the guy who has ALS. This isn't funny.
You don't do that to your constituents, Elizabeth Warren. I know you feel that you're above and beyond it, but people start laughing. She didn't answer a question. She's like, I want to go back to this story. People chuckle. Don't laugh. That's not a laughing matter. Oh, man. Welcome into the show. 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK. We have a big show for you today. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to play some clips from the debate last night. I have a montage of the anger and hatred and the absolute pure detesting that the Democrats have against moderate Democrats and even Trump supporters and Republicans. Just the hatred. So we have that clip. We'll play that here in just a little bit. We have some local stuff I really want to focus on today. We won't focus a whole lot on the debate, maybe a little bit here and there. And I do have some points I do want to make on it. But outside of that, you know that they're nuts. You know that they're saying really ridiculous, crazy things. And we're just going to let them sit back and shoot themselves in the foot because, no, the American people do not actually believe in this stuff. And there is a clip from one of them, I don't remember who it is, that it said something about, well, if you're a Republican on the late end of your term, because every single person in this country believes with us, and the Republicans are on the way out, and unless you actually backtrack and you don't endorse Donald Trump and you jump on our board, then you're going to be on the wrong side of history. Meaning, we're the totalitarian fascists, if I can talk today. We're going to silence everything that you do. Everybody agrees with us, and if you don't, then you're going to be erased from history because we won't tolerate you. Yeah, that's really what it says. And that's really that's what they believe anyways, but they're openly now advocating for something like that. So, which is crazy. So we'll get into some of this here as well. We have some great guests today. Amy Lyons, she's jumping on the show with us today. She is the candidate, one of the candidates for mayor in the city of Wichita. We'll look forward to chatting with her at 12:30 today. Also at 1 o'clock, Jim Howell, Sedgwick County Commissioner. It is a Wednesday, no county commission meeting today, because it is the last Wednesday of the month. However, we will still chat with him on some of the county-wide issues that are going on. So a couple of guests today, and we'll look forward to chatting with them. Until then, though, it is open lines at 316-721-8255. We are all over social media right now, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. You can watch us there as well, which we appreciate very much in doing so. This is the level of lunacy that you heard from the Democrats last night at the first. Now, again, we have another night of this. Remember, we didn't get to hear from Tulsi Gabbard. We didn't get to hear from Joe Biden. We haven't gotten to hear from a few others, Kamala Harris. So tonight is going to be another night of insanity. And yet, we're going to enjoy it. Because here's a little taste of what you missed last night if you did not watch.
It will finally include dental care, hearing aids, and eyeglasses.
But you don't know
Second
that.
of all.
You don't know that,
Second
Bernie.
of all.
We'll come to you in a second,
I do know,
Congressman.
and I wrote the damn bill.
I think if we're going to force Americans to make these radical changes, they're not going to go along. You throw your hands up, but you haven't. Oh, I can do it. But
why do we got to be the party of taking something away from people?
No one is the party.
That's what they're running on.
So look, let's be clear about this. We are the Democrats. We are not about trying to take away health care from anyone. That's what the Republicans are trying to do.
I'm normally way over there with Bernie and Elizabeth on this one. I hear the others, and I have some concern about that as well.
It is time to stop worrying about what the Republicans will say. Look,
Yes.
if it's true that if we embrace a far-left agenda, they're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists. If we embrace a conservative agenda, you know what they're going to do? They're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists.
You know, I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for.
The wealth that we have built, the way we became the greatest country on the face of the planet, was literally on the backs of those who were kidnapped and brought here by force. I will also sign into law Sheila Jackson Lee's reparations bill so that we can have the national conversation we have waited too long in this country to have.
And I've heard some people here tonight, I almost wonder why you're Democrats. You seem to think there's something wrong about using the instruments of government to help people. So many Americans realize there is an injustice that continues to form a toxicity underneath the surface, an emotional turbulence that only reparations
thank
will
you
do.
very much.
I assure you, I lived in Grosse Pointe. What happened in Flint would not have happened in Grosse Pointe. This is part of the dark underbelly of American society. If you think any of this wonkiness is going to deal with this dark psychic force of the collectivized hatred that this president is bringing up in this country, then I'm afraid that the Democrats are going to see some very dark days.
If you were watching this at home and you are a Republican member of Congress, consider the fact that when the sun sets on your career and they are writing your story of all the good and bad things you did in your life, the thing you will be remembered for is whether in this moment with this president you found the courage to stand up to him or you continue to put party over country.
Wow. So much anger. So much hatred. And look, the media fueled it. I mean, the media, CNN, with the way they hosted it, they went out of their way to try and square off individuals to go after each other. They wanted to see the anger. They think it's for good ratings because they don't have any ratings. They don't realize they just shot themselves in the foot because they are destroying their own party and turning themselves against each other because that's what they're so good at doing. It's about the collective. It's about that groupthink. It's about you're over here and you're over here and therefore you are good and you are bad. That's what they do. That's in their DNA. That's what they truly, honestly believe down in their soul is divisiveness, hatred, and anger is by saying you are different and therefore we will come after you. That's why Elizabeth Warren said, I cannot believe that someone would actually stand up here and say something that we cannot do because we could do anything we want to do. That's why Williamson stood up there and said, I cannot believe that some of you consider yourselves Democrats and not actually use the full power of the government to give everybody free stuff and everybody. I cannot believe that you're actually advocating for private options along with government options. That's treasonous to the Democrat socialist agenda. Right? I mean, it's hysterical. They went at it. John I was waiting for it. I wanted to see it, and we didn't get to see it in the last debate, but John Hickenlooper and Bernie Sanders, when John Hickenlooper, throw your hands up in the air, go for it. And Bernie, okay, I will. John, I can do it too. I can throw my hands up in the air. Really, really upset. It's hysterical. I love it. They have no idea how to move forward. They are going even further than I ever thought. Further to the left than I ever thought they would go. Because they will not be able to backtrack it. But maybe they could. I don't know. Maybe they could because there are a very large voter base in the nation that does not pay attention to this, that does not follow what they said 5 minutes ago, and therefore they could come out and try and play Mr. Moderate or Mrs. Moderate when they get to the general election. I don't know. But they are going so far to the loony bin that now even under the Democrat ranks, if you do not completely say abolish all private insurance, abolish all type of private entities, abolish all type of private industry, and make it all public sector, redistribute wealth, raise taxes on the rich, give everybody free goodies, it's going to bankrupt them. If you don't believe in all of that, you are not a pure Democrat and get the hell out of our party. That's what we heard yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it on that Democrat debate stage. Elizabeth Warren, John Delaney going at each other, taking health care away from private options. I can't believe that you would even talk about private options. John Delaney, yeah, I believe it's a right. I believe that we should have a public option. I believe that we should expand government health care and give people that option, but we're not going to force people to get off of it. It's about freedom. It's about health care opportunity that we have. I mean, that started right off the beginning of the debate.
Congressman Delaney just referred to it as bad policy, and previously he has called the idea political suicide that will just get President Trump reelected. What do you say to Congressman Delaney?
You're wrong. Right now, we have a dysfunctional health care system, 87 million uninsured or underinsured, $500,000 Americans every year going bankrupt because of medical bills, 30,000 people dying while the healthcare industry makes tens of billions of dollars in profit. 5 minutes away from here, John, is a country. It's called Canada. They guarantee healthcare to every man, woman, and child as a human right. They spend half of what we spend. And by the way, when you end up in a hospital in Canada, you come out with no bill at all. Healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. I believe that. I will fight for that.
So he didn't answer the question. What he did believe is in his human right. Is human right. I love how he says that. The human right. But John Delaney, hey, you know what? That's bad to force people off there. There should be options. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. These are the bad things. So then they went back to John Delaney and they had a little back and forth.
Well, I'm right about this. We can create a universal health care system to give everyone basic health care for free, and I have a proposal to do it. But we don't have to go around and be the party of subtraction and telling half the country who has private health insurance that their health insurance is illegal. My dad, the union electrician, loved the health care he got from the IBEW. He would never want someone to take that away. Half of Medicare beneficiaries now have Medicare Advantage, which is private insurance, or supplemental plans. It's also bad policy. It'll underfund the industry. Many hospitals will close, and it's bad policy.
It's bad policy. And because of that, again, Bernie Sanders, no, you're wrong. We're going to force it. We're going to take it away. We're going to get rid of all these things. I mean, it almost seems like to me like watching House of Cards, right? I mean, looking from the outside in, looking as a Republican watching a Democrat debate, a conservative watching liberal progressives talk about socialism and free goodies, it's like watching House of Cards. You know that everybody involved is bad, is treasonous, is wrong, but yet you still support a couple of them because they're like, fun to watch and they sound somewhat reasonable. Now they're not reasonable, but in the world of like comparison that we're seeing between all of them, they're more reasonable than what the other ones are. Nobody on that stage is actually reasonable in any way, shape, or form, but there are some in different levels of unreasonableness compared to what you saw with some of the other candidates. John Delaney still believes in socialized health care. But he also believes in private sector options as well if you get it through your employer and it works out well. The problem with that, like we saw with Obamacare, he's pretty much just saying let's embrace Obamacare again, is that when you have the private option, whether you have it as an intended consequence or an unintended consequence, it drives out the business of the private sector because as the government, you don't have to worry about profits to keep the door open. And therefore, you can charge at a lower rate. You come in, you completely get rid of your competition, then you have crappy quality, you have terrible prices, and then you're forced on it because there is no other option for you to have it there because you've already run them out of business. They complain about Walmart doing this thing in the private sector, right? I mean, many progressives, many on the other side, and even people that just support small business and don't like large corporations, whatever it may be, that's what they complain about Walmart, right? Walmart comes in and they have kind of their three-tiered pricing plan. They come in, they price it at really low, everybody gets hooked on it, they start going there, they run the competition out of business, then they jack up the prices when no one else is around because that's the only option for you to get the stuff. They complain about that with Walmart on the private level because evil corporation, but they're totally okay with that with the private sector health insurance plan. Doesn't make any sense to me. It's crazy. So he may sound more reasonable because he's advocating for private insurance, not necessarily because it's not going to be there, and that's an unintended consequence. It will go away when you expand the public option, which is exactly what happened with Obamacare. The high prices, the uninsuredness right now, the high deductibles, the high premiums, the bad quality that we're receiving today in this era is because of government health care and Obamacare. That's why the system is broken. Why in the world we'd want to go back the other direction? I don't know. Craziness. Welcome in. 316-721-8255. We have a lot to get to. We'll take some more, take a break. We'll play some more clips when we come back. Plus, we have some local stuff to get to as well. It's going to be one heck of a show here on The Voice of Reason for a Wednesday. Stay here.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Today, some linguistics worry that our use of smiley faces, thumbs up, and other emojis compromises our communication. We just aren't becoming proficient in grammar, spelling, and the English language, they say. Kim Commando with your Wednesday Consumer Tech Update brought to you by ExpressVPN. Before you travel this summer, protect your device. Get the same protection I have at expressvpn.com/Kim. Sound the alarms. Texting is killing our grammar and language skills. Chris McGovern, chairman of the Campaign for Real Education, says that emojis dumb down language and nurture laziness. We aren't mastering the English language, he says. Back in 2015, the Oxford Dictionary's word of the year wasn't a word. It was the face with tears emoji, normally used when you're laughing hard at something. And that's it. Emojis do show emotions during an impersonal text exchange. Symbols have been used to communicate since the caveman days. And think of the Egyptians. It certainly worked for them. I'm Kim Commando. Over the years, I've tried and tested every way that average people can and should back up the data on their computers. I'll tell you that iDrive is simply the best cloud backup service there is. 4 big reasons why. First, it's the easiest to use. I back up everything. All my computers, smartphones, iPads, tablets, everything. to one single iDrive account. Second, it's the most secure. With iDrive snapshots, I'll never lose even a single byte of data. Never pay a penny because of ransomware. Third, get your data to the cloud fast with iDrive Express, a free shipping service where once a year, iDrive will send you a physical drive. You load your data on it and ship it right back. Your data will be in the cloud within a week. And fourth, it's cost effective. If you're using any other cloud backup or storage service, switch to iDrive today and get an amazing 90% off the first year. Use my name, Kim, as the promo code. That's iDrive.com, promo code Kim.
On the next Mike Gallagher show, we'll have all the highlights from the first of 2 Democrat debates this week from Detroit. CNN has placed Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren at the top of the list, but Beto Robert Francis O'Rourke says don't count him out. Also, Eric Trump will join us to give us his thoughts on the Democrat debate and more. Join us on the next Mike Gallagher show.
Mike Gallagher, tonight at 8 p.m., right here on the Big Talker, KQAM.
I'm happy again. That's right. The maids are cleaning my house right now. I'm going to come home to every room clean from top to bottom. As I budget my needs versus wants, having less stress in my life knowing the maids are cleaning my house every other week is definitely a need. Go to maids.com for a virtual tour of the Maids 22-step Healthy Touch house cleaning system. Then call the maids today for a free estimate, 832-9058.
I've got better things to do.
832-9058.
Hello, my name is Mark Gietzen, and I'm running for mayor of Wichita. I am a Marine Corps veteran, the owner of Gietzen Aerial Services, the president of the Kansas Republican Assembly, the chairman of the Kansas Coalition for Life, and a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I love Wichita, and I want to see Wichita prosper and grow. The best way to assure a thriving community is to attract growing businesses, which in turn provide good jobs. The best way to attract and keep great businesses is to limit or reduce the tax burden on them, particularly the city portion of property taxes. I will never raise your taxes. Wichita is a beautiful city, but little things like bad sidewalks, so common in the poor neighborhoods of Wichita, could easily be fixed for a small amount of money and would add dramatically to the overall positive image of our city. Please vote Mark Gietzen for mayor on August 6th.
If you can't stop listening to talk radio, listen to the best, the Big Talker, KQAM.
28 minutes past the hour. Welcome into The Voice of Reason on a post Monday, the pre-Friday. Boy, we got big stuff happening all around. Outside of the craziness of a Democrat debate, which they almost have one like once a month now until, I don't know when they have another one set up for next month after this, which is crazy. What really fascinated me, of course, was the fact they didn't mention how bad Detroit was. They did mention Flint Hills Flint a little bit in the water, but outside of that, they didn't even mention it. Shocker, right? We called that one. They wouldn't mention it because, well, hey, they don't want to mention what Democrat policies have done to a city for the last 60, 70 years. Completely run by Democrats, no influence of Republicanism at all, and it's in that situation, but it's Republicans' fault somehow for how it's actually done. So, of course, they wouldn't mention that and how bad things actually are. So well done on that one. But outside of all that craziness, which we'll get back to here in just a little bit, there is, of course, things that you can do at the local levels to get ready for the election, including what's coming up on Tuesday next week. We are officially 6 days away from the primary election for city council, for school board, for mayor's races, all across the state, all in the local municipalities. We've been focusing on the one here in Wichita because we have 9 candidates. We have the school board candidates that are been coming on as well and chatting. So it's been a lot of fun. And get ready, 6 days away. You still have a couple of days if you choose to do so to go and do the early voting if you're not going to be around. But I still love it. I still love my election day. You go out there on Tuesday next week, you go, you little I voted sticker, and you're all good. So I am excited, and we'll continue to get some more candidates on, including today, Amy Lyons, candidate for mayor. She'll be joining us here in just an hour from now. So get set for that one. Until then, it's open lines to you. Let's make this happen, baby, on a wonderful Wednesday. as we talk about the debate. Plus, Steve Watkins, 2nd Congressional District. He's under heat for a town hall because the haters showed up and caused a rabble-rousing effect on that one. Also, there is a candidate running for the 3rd District as a Republican against Sharice Davids, and she has been called out, and now the attacks are vicious on her. We'll do that when we come back here in a little bit as well on a Wednesday on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
KQAM News Desk.
Broadway has lost one of its brightest lights.
For I compose the music of the night.
The legendary producer and director behind musicals like Phantom of the Opera and Cabaret has died. Hal Prince was 91. A judge says the billionaire financier accused of sex trafficking won't face trial until June of next year at the earliest. Jeffrey Epstein is currently jailed in New York without bond. On Capitol Hill, Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell is working to wrangle support for a compromise, lifting the debt ceiling and covering military and domestic spending.
The deal we have in front of us is the product of extensive negotiations between President Trump's team and the Democratic House.
Conservatives are concerned about overspending and a deficit that could balloon by another $2 trillion or more under the plan, but a vote on the bill could come later today. I'm Jan Johnson.
This is the sound of @KoalaMama85 asking DQ to bring back the Snickers Blizzard. And this is the sound of us making the Snickers Blizzard and the all-new peanut butter pie Blizzard made with Snickers. And this is the sound of 5,157 happy Snickers Blizzard lovers saying OMG, smile emoji, praise hands, thank you, exclamation point, praise hands, praise hands. That's what a Snickers Blizzard sounds like. And it's back with the all-new peanut butter pie Blizzard made with Snickers.
DQ, happy tastes good.
Clean living. Most times it's easier to achieve it for our cars than for ourselves. After all, Valero top-tier certified quality fuel is just around the corner to keep your engine running cleaner, better, and longer. So if you're not up for raw beet juice today, at least Valero can make sure your car is fueled clean. That means you'll get where you want to go and need to go, and your car will feel great getting you there. Find a station near you at ValeroCleanGas.com.
Promo code.
Mid-America Network News. A judge has thrown out a defamation lawsuit filed by Kansas Senate Majority Leader Jim Denning against former Kansas City Star columnist Steve Rose. KCUR reports that a Johnson County District Court judge ruled that Denning had not established the falsehood of the views against Medicaid expansion that Rose attributed to the Overland Park Republican in a January column. Denning alleged that Rose attributed statements to him that he had not made. Rose said that Denning made the comments, but at an earlier time than when the column indicated. The former leader of a national disability rights group has become the first Republican candidate seeking to unseat Democratic U.S. Representative Sharice Davids of Kansas. Sarah Hart Ware has kicked off her campaign in the 3rd Congressional District in the Kansas City area. I'm Stephanie Austin.
Warmer weather will remind us that it's getting to be time to start thinking about holiday and summer fun.
Get your truck ready for fun at Continental Truck Accessories.
With lids and toppers from Century and ATC, running boards, bed storage systems, tonneau covers, backup cameras, hitches, and receivers.
We have everything you need, including expert installation to get your truck ready for warmer weather.
Come see us at Continental Truck Accessories
at 6701 South Broadway.
When we say Jewelry Savers is full-service jewelry repair, we mean full service. So, what do we mean by full service? For ring sizing, stone setting, soldering, and shank repair, come to Jewelry Savers. For lobster clasps, appraisals, prong retipping, pearl restringing, watch repair, and change, shortened or lengthened, come to Jewelry Savers.
Think we're done? No way.
For watch batteries, watch bands, engraving, beads, and bars, resizing, cleaning, polishing, and a bunch of other repairs that haven't even been invented yet, come to Jewelry Savers. Hey, when we say Jewelry Savers is full-service jewelry repair, we mean full service. Jewelry Savers, K96 in Greenwich by Quebec. Cabela's.
You're busy working. Now get busy saving. It's easy at your authorized Bobcat dealer, White Star Machinery. For a limited time, we're offering cashback rebates up to $13,000 on new Bobcat excavators. Or take advantage of 0% financing for 48 months with approved credit. And we'll give you up to $8,000 back. Don't miss these limited time offers with cashback and 0% financing. Stop by your local White Star or call 866-587-7442 today.
White Star, get the job done.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Mostly sunny and windy, high 96, winds gusting up to 30 miles an hour. Tonight, still breezy, partly cloudy and 76. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and hot, high 98, wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour. Chance of showers and storms tomorrow night. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 11:35, it's currently 86 degrees.
Politics, news, weather, and ag. The Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM. It's time for Reason.
I've been a huge advocate trying to bring libertarians back into the Republican ranks so we can work together and fix what needs to be fixed, because we have bigger numbers. We have the 80% of that we agree on and work together on, and that we can make a really big change that way instead of dividing ourselves and we continue to lose.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
So look, let's be clear about this. We are the Democrats. We are not about trying to take away health care from anyone. That's what the Republicans are trying to do. And we should stop using Republican talking points in order to talk with each other about how to best provide that health care. Now, I want to have a chance to tell the story about my friend, Addie Barkin. Addie is 35 years old. He has a wife, Rachel. He has a cute little boy named Carl. He also has ALS, and it's killing him. Addie has health insurance, good health insurance, and it's not nearly enough.
It's not nearly enough. Let me ask you something. I've never understood this, and I know every single politician does it. Republican, Democrat, doesn't really matter. How well, especially on a debate stage, when you got a minute and a half to be able to respond to something, maybe 30 seconds, when you try and reinforce with a story of, I know this person, I've talked to this person on the campaign trail, I know this member of the family, I know a family friend, and they try and go into the story to try and prove a point. Does it actually do anything for you? I'm curious. I don't know. I mean, to me, it sounds cheesy. It sounds staged, because it is a staged story. It may be true, but it's probably twisted just a little bit, manipulated to fit the narrative, manipulated to fit the storyline of what they want it to be. So I get it. I mean, it's supposed to be like the emotional connection. Conservatives do a terrible job of this. We don't emotionally connect to a lot of people a whole lot unless it's waving the flag and singing a hoorah, and there's less people that actually feel emotionally tied to that. Because, it's just a flag, Andy. It doesn't really represent the country. You can believe your country whatever you want to. You don't have to wave the flag. Ha, ha, ha. So there's less people actually enforcing that kind of emotion of patriotism and prideness for the nation. But when this kind of emotion hits, I'm relatable. She's talking about something that's relatable to me. She's talking about something that reflects my life. I'm going through a sickness. I don't have the best insurance. I don't have enough coverage for myself. It's relatable to me. Does that really work? Because we do need to work on trying to be emotionally connected more when we're trying to advocate for an argument. I'm all for just like, hey, here are the numbers, here's the facts, period, end of story. This makes common sense. Why would you not support it? To me, that's the way I think. I'm analytical. This is the number. This is how much it's going to cost. This is how little it actually provides. That's a really dumb thing to do. If you want to take care of yourself, go take care of yourself. Go do your thing. That's what I'm all for. There's many that believe more of that mindset of, hey, I don't want to control to tell you how to live. I don't want to control to tell you how to take care of yourself. I just want to say, go do it. Go get what insurance that you feel is best for you. I want nothing to do with it. We're not going to pay for it. It's too expensive. We're not going to have you do stupid things and us take care of your stupidity. And no, we don't need to. Go do your thing. That's what I'm all for that. And that's kind of a cold, heartless approach, apparently, because that is, there are people that just can't. I understand that. So let's give them an opportunity to do so. And to me, that is heartwarming and giving, right? Maybe not to some, but to me, that is. Okay, how can we create an opportunity for those that cannot afford it to be able to get it? I'm not going to provide it for them, but you know what? I'm going to get out of your way So you can actually have the opportunity to do so. I've told you this many times before. I was a banker before I got back into radio, a personal banker, and it's all about customer service. All about customer service. And there's many ways to actually approach customer service issues. You could coddle them, hold their hand through everything. To me, the way that you're taking care of, which I had good customer service, at least I thought I did. I had some of the highest in our branch for the district. I had great customer service ratings. People enjoyed it because what I did was I was sympathetic to them. Okay, yeah, I understand your situation sucks. It's terrible. Whatever situation it may be, you had an overdrawn account, your payment didn't post, money got moved to the wrong place, whatever. Here, you're in a bad situation, you can't afford it. I'm sympathetic. I get it. That's one thing that I think at least makes me a relatively decent radio talk show host, because when we debate with someone that disagrees, I may not like their position they take, but I understand it. I can see the thought process. I can walk down that road and be like, all right, this is how you're getting from item A to item B. I can understand it. I can see it. I may not agree with it, but I can see it. I at least try to be open like that. Open-mindedness is what they used to call that. For those that aren't aware, because that's not very favorable in today's times. Either you're a racist or you're not. Either you're a Donald Trump supporter or you're not. There's no okay, I understand why you support Donald Trump. The economy's doing well. He's not a politician. He's kind of awesome. He says things very unfiltered. He's not very good on a teleprompter. Okay, you know what? Not a politician. I see the appeal here. Don't like him, but I see the appeal. Doesn't necessarily happen today either. Oh, racist. Racist. But I like to walk down that road. That's why customer service works. Is that why politicians do so well? Is that they're relatable in the sense of, I have this friend that has lupus.
So
right?
look, let's be clear about this. We are the Democrats. We are not about trying to take away health care from anyone. That's what the Republicans are trying to do.
Nice little jab.
Using Republican talking points in order to talk with each other about how to best provide that health care.
Okay, right there. Stop right there. That again proves and reinforces what we had talked about earlier about either you get on board or you're a Republican. You are not a Democrat if you believe in actual choice. You are not a Democrat if you believe in alternatives. You are not a Democrat if you actually believe in privatization of any kind of insurance. It is Medicare for all. Stop trying to pander to Republicans. Stop pandering to the moderates. We are extremists. We are socialists. You will be with us on this. Stop talking with their talking points. They're trying to kill off people. They're being the Nazis. They're being the racists and the bigots and the closed-minded jerks. We're the open-minded ones that say either you get on Medicare for all or get the hell out of our way. Or something. Bunch of hypocrites. The hell.
Now, I want to have a chance to tell the story about my friend, Addie Barkin. Addie is 35 years old. He has a wife, Rachel. He has a cute little boy named Carl. He also has ALS, and it's killing him. Addie has health insurance, good health insurance, and it's not nearly enough.
It's not nearly enough. I don't know if that's really relatable. It's relatable, but does it work? I mean, I know that we call the liberals the bleeding hearts, quote unquote, because they're very emotional. We're very analytical. We're very cold in that sense. We're very emotional. We do take care of people, but we do it in a way of, hey, this is the best way to do it because that makes sense logically. They're just like, oh, emotional. Do whatever we can for you. And that's kind of what they do. They just cry all the time. I listened to a talk show host. I was in high school, and I helped out. I was working at the feed store selling hay, selling grain, selling stuff. And we had a client that had sheep in Colorado, and they always asked me every year to shear their sheep. And I knew they were very progressive. In fact, one of the clients, I think it was a male who had converted to a female. And nice person. They love me to death, and I was in high school, and I treated them very nicely. But they always asked me every year to come over and help them shear their sheep. Not in a metaphorical manner, but literally shearing their sheep. So I would go every year, and I would help. And they had, I want to say, like 6 or 7 sheep, and I would help them shear their sheep. And in the barn, they had an AM radio because they always had music or something going on for the animals, so they had some kind of noise. And there was talk radio on, and they always had it on. In Denver, it was 760 Progressive Talk Radio. And I will never forget this. The first time I ever heard progressive talk radio, I had always listened to Rush Limbaugh, always listened to the big talk show host at that time. Even in high school, I was the dork that would go to my lunch break, go sit in my car and listen to talk radio, eat my lunch. In high school, yes. But I sat there, and for the first time, I listened to progressive talk radio. And I don't know the host, but they were talking about George Bush at the time. And this caller had called in crying, just bawling their eyes out, saying George Bush is the most evil, hateful, non-emotional, non-caring human being in the entire world. And the reasoning was because he did not show up to a military funeral, and how hateful he was by sending all these troops overseas to fight in this war, and then not showing up to the funeral of one of them when they died, and how he was the most evil, hateful person on the face of the earth. I'll never forget this, because I stopped what I was doing and I listened, and I said, first off, this is me with the untrained ear of just being a radio listener, not being in radio at all at that time, saying, wow, first off, this is the most terrible radio I've heard of, because I don't want to hear people cry. I don't like people crying. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. I just don't care for that. It's just, suck it up and let's fix whatever's making you cry so that way you don't have to cry. That's the way I approach things, because that's just me personally. Stop it. What's wrong? Let's get it addressed. Let's move on. So I was like, first off, this is terrible. I've never heard someone cry on a conservative talk radio show. And I don't like it when they do. But I heard this person just bawling and sobbing, and I was waiting for the host to do something. And you know what the host did? The host sat back, let them do their thing for a good minute and a half, and said, I understand. I know. Now, he could have gone and said, you know what? Well, the president's obviously very busy, can't make it to all the military funerals. Yes, he's gone to some. He should probably go to more. I completely agree with you that this war is useless, yada, 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 and go on the liberal talking points. And they could have done that. But instead, I understand. I know. I cannot believe he does not show up to these. I cannot believe that he actually does it. He is the most vile, hateful, non-caring human being on the face of the earth. And the host started tearing up at the same time. Now, again, zero analytics there, zero thought process, all emotion. Is that how you win a base? Is that how you appeal? With Elizabeth Warren going on about this story, yes, it's relatable. People can raise their hands and say, like, okay, yes, I understand because I'm in that same kind of boat in some way, shape, or form. I know a family member that's in that boat. Instead of hearing the sob story, why don't we just hear, hey, people are going through this. I understand that. I'm not going to take care of you, but by golly, you better have the right to take care of yourself, and I'm going to give you that opportunity. Period. End of story. Let's look at the analytics here. Let's look at the bills. Let's look at the facts. Look at the stats. But again, now we've gone down the conservative road of not looking at emotion, not trying to actually appeal to people, but looking at the analytics. It seems to be not doing very well with many of the younger crowd because they want to feel that emotional, lovey-feely side. The millennial generation, remember, they're the ones that they'll work for less pay if they're being treated properly in a workforce. The millennial generation, they don't care that they're making the most amount of money or not, as long as they have good working conditions, they have flexibility, and they're happy with their boss, and their boss treats them nicely, then the millennial generation stays. Show me the money, baby. I'll get whatever done. I don't care what you call me and what you do. You know what? You pay me right, I'll be here all you want. That's just the way I am. Millennial generation, boy, they're all about the emotion. Make me feel good. Take care of me. Give me some nice, luxurious, comfortable working conditions, and I'll stick with you, even if you're not paying me the most. That's craziness. I don't know. It's a completely different mindset, but the emotion versus the fact, where do we draw the line, and how do conservatives appeal based on that emotional story? Here's my emotional plea. Yes, you know what? I can talk about my story. My wife filed for bankruptcy. She's been sick her entire life, or at least since, we reunited again after years of dating in high school. We met each other again. She was really sick. She was on a kidney transplant list. We've gone through different issues. We can't have any more children. We had a bankruptcy because of all the medical debt. I can relate. Guess what? All those medical bills were thanks to Obamacare. If I were in elected office, I would get rid of Obamacare because that's what messed up my family. I would make sure I could take care of my family by having options to get health care tailored to me, not some government bureaucrat telling me that, you know what, you really don't need that kind of operation. You really don't need that kind of prescription. You really don't need that kind of stuff. I don't need some Democrat or some bureaucrat telling me about that. I'm going to do it myself. Leave me the hell alone. That's what I'm all about. And maybe that's an emotional connection. I don't know. I just think Elizabeth Warren kind of bombed on that one. Then when she got cut off, they asked her a question. And then when she tried to bring it back.
And I'd like to finish talking about Addie, the guy who has ALS. This isn't funny.
This isn't funny. Trying to tell a story here. It's supposed to be sad. You're supposed to be crying in your seats. Note to self, don't yell at your constituents and get mad at them. Just words of wisdom for you, Elizabeth Warren. I'm sorry, Pocahontas. Let's go to the phones here, shall we? 316-721-8255. Line number 1. Good afternoon. Who's this?
Scott.
Scott, what's going on, sir? How you doing?
Well, one of the things I notice about health care is that it's full of special interests. If I have my own stem cells and I want to use that to cure my body, I can't because special interests are making money off me not doing that, and therefore they're paying a lot of people in Washington to not allow that to go by. And so, therefore, people who have health needs that have solutions, they can't get them because special interest is keeping them from doing it. So we got to get rid of the special interest in this so that people can actually have a fair health care program.
Well, that sounds nice. Here's the thing. We'll never get rid of the special interest, but there is ways to solve it by creating a larger market so that way you can find someone that's not tied to those special interests, which is very difficult to do. I don't know if you have Netflix or not. There's actually a TV show that's really interesting, and I only saw about part of it. My wife got really attached to it. It's only one season, but it's called What If? And it's a show where actually they talk about this. There's a gal who has the cure for cancer. She has her own study, her own program, her own company where they're studying things, trying to cure cancer. She found the cure for cancer. An investor came in, created a whole lot of drama to try and take ownership of the company, and then sell it off to a pharmaceutical company who would spend the money to kill off the study and kill off the business so the cure wouldn't come out to the public because they have such a tight iron grip. That kind of stuff happens. So we're never going to get rid of it. We're never going to get rid of that.
But you got the man who is a Dr. Seavey who cured HIV, and he proved that in New York State court.
Mm-hmm.
He died the month after the case was closed on it. So some people had their hand in that. But what I'm saying is that they were giving him such a hard time. But like I said, once the courts proved that he had cured it, you would think there would be all kind of people trying to, get on board and try to, help cure this thing, help spread, what he's doing.
Well, don't worry.
Instead, you had special interests to kill the man.
Well, and I tell you what, Scott, I mean, it will get out. These things will get out. And you're right. I do believe that kind of stuff happens. And I don't know about that individual case with that individual dying a month later. But this stuff does happen. Of course, money leads to greed, whatever. People have that part of the brain where they do that. That's human nature. That's what we do, which is why, again, there was a really interesting piece about how progressives think that society is bad, but humans are good, whereas conservatives supposedly think humans are bad and society's decent. We can go in that philosophical conversation if you want to. I think that we are inherently greedy if we given the opportunity. That's why absolute power corrupts absolutely, and that's why we try and limit the amount of power we have. In the private sector, we need to have options. No government that's telling us how to kill off certain industries or regulating or controlling industries to where there's only one or two or three competitors that do have all the power, that do have all the money, that do have all the influence to be able to kill off the competition when they have something that could essentially ruin them. We need to have the private market. Get the government out of it. Allow more competition in when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to pharmaceuticals, when it comes to cancer curing, when it comes to whatever. Let's actually solve these things with the private market, because guess what? When there's a need, the private sector and humans find a way to fill that gap because we fill gaps that we need. That's our human nature. Human nature is also to kill off the competition if it threatens to ruin us, which is why government and crony capitalism, not capitalism, but crony capitalism is what destroys humanity, and that's what we have to try and fight off each and every day. So everyone on that debate stage, they're part of that crony capitalist / establishment / government / corruption that we need to try and fight. Half the Republicans are the same way. We just have to find a way to do it in the private sector. Got to take a break. Wrapping up hour number 1. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. It continues to be a tough morning for our grains and soybeans. September corn down 5.5 at 405 3/4. December down 5 3/4 at 415 1/4. The later months are all similarly lower, so not a good day for corn. Soybeans are not doing well. August beans down 9 1/4 at 869.5. September down 9 3/4 at 874.5. Similar losses all the rest of the way down. The products are off. Soybean meal August down 120 at 299.10. Soybean meal September down 130 at 301.50. August soybean oil 37 points lower at 27.94. September's down 37 points, 28.06. So nothing happy in the soy complex. September Kansas City wheat down 6 3/4 at 426 3/4. December down 6 1/4 at 444 3/4. So corn, soybeans, Kansas City wheat not having a good day. August live cattle down 35 at 107.75. October down 65 at 108.42. Back months are down. August feeders down 122, 141.87. September down 165 at 142.40. All the back months in feeder cattle are down by more than $1. We've had some tough going with hogs the last several days. That continues today. August hogs at 89.90. That's down $1.40. October hogs stand at 71.57. That's down $2.40. So we are looking at some real issues across hogs here on a midweek Wednesday. Nothing in the livestock complex is positive. One bright spot is cotton. Cotton is up. October is up 21 points at 63.08. December cotton is up 45 points at this time at 63.81. So a little better look for cotton than we are seeing for many of the other ag futures. Gold is down. August gold down $2.60 currently at $14.27.10. Also seeing minus signs with silver and with copper. Market update, Mid-America Ag Network.
Swing into summer at Wichita Public Golf Courses. It's the best value in town. Find a course for all skill levels, located conveniently throughout the city. Come meet our friendly staff and take advantage of the great deals. You can purchase a season pass to play all city courses at a reduced price. We have passes for singles, couples, and a junior pass. Don't forget, you can host your tournaments with us too. Ready to hit the greens? Just use the Golf Wichita app to schedule your tee time or visit golfwichita.com.
It's Mary from Wildwood Cellars. Our pure elderberry concentrate is especially popular this time of the year, and people ask us what makes ours so much better than the rest, and I have to say it's how we make it, so that none of the good properties of the elderberries are ever lost. Nothing is ever dehydrated, and we add nothing to it. No sugars, syrups, alcohols, additives, or preservatives, just pure concentrated elderberry with less than 1 gram of carb or sugar, so you can take it straight or add it to any juice or drink of your choice. Online at wildwoodsellers.com.
Baseball season is in full swing. It's a good thing Matt secured his denture with Super Polygrip. Now he can enjoy the snacks as much as the game.
Polygrip. Hey, how are you? So great to see you.
It's that time of year when the family meets up.
Hi, come on. Get together, guys. Family photo.
It's a good thing Jack cleans his denture with Polydent so he can enjoy the whole day with confidence.
Polydent.
Joe Pags, today after Dave Ramsey on AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
All right, real quickly, we got about a minute before we go to the top of the hour. Bill O'Reilly update at the top of the hour, but I want to get into real briefly a mayor's update for the mayor's race here in the Wichita area. There was a report that came out of Kansas.com on the fundraising that's gone by candidate and Mayor Jeff Longwell, currently right now rocking it when it comes to dominating the amount of donations that he's seen at $89,000 since January 1. Giving him a total chest of more than $92,000 and spent nearly $40,000 so far in the campaign. Rocking it at number one with the most amount of donations. Lindy Wells has reported $56,000 raised and spending about $28,000. Brandon Whipple coming in third, bringing in about $25,000 and spending about $20,000 of that. So a little bit difference there, but Mayor Jeff Longwell, current mayor, dominating those fundraising numbers, and we'll see as that changes in the last, see how well that works out. I mean, many of the other ones don't have as much cash, and it's all been word of mouth and pounding the streets, so we'll see how well it all goes going into the primary election on Tuesday. Only two continue. Let's see who it's going to be. And it's going to be one heck of an interesting race. I'd love to get your thoughts on who you're leaning towards as we go on through this process. We'll take a break. Hour number one all wrapped up. We got a lot more to get to here. Amy Lyons will be joining us at 12:30. Mayor's candidate here in the Wichita area. Also, some crazy comments from lefties who don't like Republicans running for offices. We'll do that when we come back. Stay here.
Over 340 years of roofing experience, and that's just the management and estimating team. It's no wonder Ray Roofing is one of the most successful roofing companies in Kansas. As a sixth-generation family-owned business, Ray Roofing specializes in built-up, modified, cold-applied, EPDM, TPO, and tapered roofing systems. Whether the structure roof is commercial, sheet metal, or flat residential, Ray Roofing was founded on the belief that a roof is only as good as the roofer applying it. Ray Roofing, online at wrayroofing.com.
Hi, I'm Carrie Davis. Happy to tell you about the opening of Carrie Davis Liquor.
I am Brian Davis, and for over 40 years, Davis Liquor Outlet of Wichita has been proud to provide you the best value for your dollar.
Before school classes go back into session this year, the doors will be open at Carrie Davis Liquor Outlet at Kellogg and Tyler.
You know, the building used to house Vanderbilt's just west of Midwest Kia.
Be watching and listening for our grand opening announcement.
We are currently accepting applications. Apply online at davisliquoroutlet.com. Each store independently owned and operated, excludes 31st and Meridian.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM. Wichita proud.
Bill O'Reilly here, Wednesday, July 31st, 2019. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening today in America. Democrats debate in Detroit. President Trump says Baltimore residents appreciate his tough talk on corruption. Economists reveal the unbelievable cost of the proposed Green New Deal. Also ahead, my message of the day and analysis of the Democratic presidential debate last night in Detroit. But first, 10 Democrats took the stage at the Fox Theater in Detroit, most of them promising more free stuff for the American people. Most of the Democrats vowed to provide health care, college tuition, child care, housing, a higher minimum wage and guaranteed salaries, and much more. Moderates like former Congressman John Delaney pushed back, calling the progressive promises, quote, fairy tale economics. The truth is, the federal government would have to confiscate private property and savings if all the free programs were implemented. Immigration quickly becoming the major issue heading into 2020, with Sanders and Warren pledging to decriminalize people illegally entering the USA while providing health care to them. Critics argue the new policies will entice millions more all over the world to make the journey to the U.S. border and then cross illegally. The Democratic contenders in general favor open borders and amnesty for foreign nationals already living in the USA with undocumented status. President Trump telling reporters Baltimore residents appreciate his tough talk on Congressman Elijah Cummings and other Democrats, saying the city's crime rate is a perfect example of what corruption looks like. Mr. Trump urging Mr. Cummings to use his House Oversight Committee to investigate political corruption in Baltimore and the rising violent crime rate there. Economists confirming the unbelievable costs associated with the proposed Green New Deal, warning the progressive package of environmental regulations would cost the average American household about $75,000 in its first year. That figure will balloon to $250,000 within 5 years as families spend far more money on fuel, construction, travel, etc. So, how did the Democrats do last night in the presidential debate? The message, moments away. It's an uncertain world out there, you know that. Disaster can strike at any time. So you need to be prepared to protect yourself and your family. One way to do that is with freeze-dried food. It tastes good. It's healthy. Can be stored for 25 years. That's why I'm happy to tell you about a company I recommend, Wise Foods. I have experience with them myself. During Superstorm Sandy, I lost power for 7 days. All of my refrigerated food done. But my food supply from Wise Foods was as fresh as the day I received it. Visit Wise Food Storage, one word, wisefoodstorage.com/Bill, and explore their starter kits and long-term emergency food options. They are even offering free shipping plus a big discount of 25% off for my listeners. So please go to wisefoodstorage.com/Bill, wisefoodstorage.com/bill, or you can call 855-269-0501. That's 855-269-0501.
It's Mary from Wildwood Cellars. Our pure elderberry concentrate is especially popular this time of the year, and people ask us what makes ours so much better than the rest, and I have to say it's how we make it, so that none of the good properties of the elderberries are ever lost. Nothing is ever dehydrated, and we add nothing to it. No sugars, syrups, alcohols, additives, or preservatives, just pure concentrated elderberry with less than 1 gram of carb or sugar, so you can take it straight or add it to any juice or drink of your choice. Online at wildwoodsellers.com.
Jesse Soria, the owner of Cholitas Mexican Restaurant. Jesse, what is the magic of Cholitas?
I believe it's been our consistency. We've been able to provide a quality product by making our foods fresh daily. Our cooks come in and they start with the sauces, the chips. We make everything there. We have really good customer service. It's just overall quality.
Open 6 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Cholitas Mexican Restaurant inside Westlink Shopping Center at Central and Tyler.
The O'Reilly Update message of the day, a report card for those participating in the debate last night. The Democrats trying to get the presidential nomination. Let's start with the front runner in the debate last night, and that would be Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. I give him a C. He opened up very strongly as the Democrats' strongest issue is health care. Millions of Americans are struggling paying those bills. Sanders rightly pointed out that a huge, profitable corporation like Amazon doesn't pay any taxes to the U.S. government because it uses the tax code to depreciate things and therefore does not fork over any cash. That's outrageous, and it's true, and Sanders did it well in his opening remarks. However, the senator is so off-the-chart radical, favoring open borders, free everything, rank socialism, that the only way to pay for it would have to be to seize private property. Therefore, Bernie Sanders could never be elected president of the United States. Elizabeth Warren, the senator from Massachusetts, is the second highest rated person that we saw last night. I give her a C+. She is extremely radical left, hates American corporations, and if she were president, the economy would absolutely tank. She favors open borders, reparations, all of that. Senator Warren, probably more popular than Bernie Sanders right now, but has little chance to secure the nomination with her program. Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana, is very articulate. I give him a B, but he doesn't really have many specifics. He's not a problem solver in the sense that he has big ideas like Warren and Sanders. I see Mayor Buttigieg as a commentator on CNN, and a year from now, I do not believe he will secure the nomination. Fourth, we go to Beto O'Rourke, former congressman from Texas. A disaster last night. I give him a D. A radical, wants reparations, was stuttering all over the place, looked uneasy. He has no shot. Then comes former Maryland Congressman John Delaney, kind of a smart guy, a moderate. He pushed back on radicals like Sanders and Warren, saying, you can't pay for this. All your promises would crash the economy. Delaney has no chance, but he was a voice of moderation. I'll give him a B last night. Then Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, a very smart woman, give her a C, no charisma at all, no chance at all. Then former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper, same thing. Very smart, but no charisma. He did push back on some radical ideas. I give him a B minus for Governor Hickenlooper. Ohio Congressman Tim Ryan gets a C+, no charisma, moderate guy. He was there. That's about all you can say. Didn't make much of an impression. Then we have a new guy, Montana Governor Steve Bullock. He did pretty well. Articulate guy, moderate Democrat. Doesn't have any chance, but I give him a B. Finally, author Marianne Williamson, I give her a D. I have no idea what she's talking about. She's up there, more power to her, but has no shot at winning the Democratic nomination. Tonight, frontrunner Joe Biden, that should be very interesting. We'll talk about it tomorrow. That is the message of the day. For more fact-based, honest analysis, please visit BillO'Reilly.com. You'll like it. Coming next, something you might not know. A massive data breach of home titles and mortgages may have exposed your home and bank loans to home title thieves. If you've received robocalls or mail stating you're pre-approved for loans or credit cards, thieves may already have you. They're after money, of course, and they get it by forging your home title so it looks like you sold your home. Then they'll take out loans against your home and stick you with the payments. And listen, no insurance, bank, or identity theft program protects you. Home Title Lock does. For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a barrier around your home's online title to keep foreign and domestic thieves away. So if you've received robocalls or mail for pre-approved credit cards or loans, you need to move, and fast. I got you 60 risk-free days of Home Title Lock protection to get you through this current breach. Register your address now to verify you're not already a victim. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
Hello, my name is Mark Gietzen, and I'm running for mayor of Wichita. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, the owner of Gietzen Aerial Services, the president of the Kansas Republican Assembly, and the chairman of the Kansas Coalition for Life. I love Wichita, and I love life. I believe that all human beings should be equally protected by law. Since abortion is an act of violence against a defenseless individual, I want to make Wichita a sanctuary city for the unborn. While our right to life is fundamental, one's quality of life is also important. I would like to make Wichita's water the cleanest in the nation. When we turn our water faucet on, we want water to come out, not soup. And certainly not a soup that contains a known developmental neurotoxin and an unnatural form of chlorine that irritates sensitive skin. Help make our great city even greater. Vote Mark Gietzen for mayor of Wichita on August 6th.
Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. For the second year in a row, the U.S. government is set to borrow more than $1 trillion. The Treasury Department confirming this week they will need the money to keep the government running for the rest of 2019. Total projected spending for this year alone, more than $4.5 trillion, a record. So where is all the money going? Well, first, the funds are directed towards, quote, mandatory spending, money Congress has to pay as part of federal law. More than $1 trillion in mandatory spending goes to Social Security alone. Medicare costs another $645 billion. Medicaid, $419 billion. That is where most of the tax money goes. The rest, about $670 billion, is for things like food stamps, disability benefits, various entitlement programs for people who are struggling with basics like food and housing. Mandatory spending represents more than half of the federal budget, more than $2.5 trillion in total. Next is discretionary spending, money Congress appropriates to fund various agencies within the federal government. The biggest chunk of that spending goes to the Defense Department, $716 billion. Department of Health and Human Services is next. They spend $100 billion. Veterans Affairs, about $85 billion. Education, $70 billion. State Department, $55 billion. The Department of Homeland Security, $48 billion. All in all, Congress will spend $1.3 trillion in discretionary funding. Last, an issue we seldom hear about these days, the national debt. With a total public debt right now of about $22 trillion, the Budget Office estimates that interest payments alone will be close to $400 billion this year. The interest will be close to $500 billion in 2020. In all, there are many programs that are worthy of our tax dollars, but the spending is definitely out of control. Unless Congress is willing to make dramatic cuts, future generations of Americans will face economic catastrophe. We'll be right back. The housing market on fire all over the country with interest rates falling. It's a great time to sell your home. If you want to sell or buy, the competition is going to be fierce. You need a great real estate agent to help you. That's why my friend Glenn Beck started the service realestateagentsitrust.com as a way to make sure you get connected with agents who are successful, ambitious, like-minded, and eager to help you with your biggest investment. These are agents with a long track record of performance. There are no part-time or inexperienced agents in Beck's network. These are all professionals who have the tools and the talent to successfully take you through the process. Market value for your home cannot be done by a computer program or an equation. It takes years of expertise to evaluate your market and to price your home to sell quickly for top dollar. These agents are experts in your town, and they do business like you with your values. So get moving today with realestateagentsitrust.com. That's realestateagentsitrust.com. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.
It's time for Reason.
That's the nature of the beast right now, so let's talk about conservatism, because we can win when we talk about the ideas. And people can't argue with it, because we win on platform when we actually argue the platform, rather than go into these rhetorical bumper sticker type arguments.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming.
Hey, welcome into the Voice of Reason. Man, oh man, it's hour number 2. It's great to have you along for the ride today, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting all over social media, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, doesn't really matter. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching us. Thanks for sharing it. Thanks for leaving comments. Thanks for joining the program each and every day, because you know what? If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do our thing. And that's about it. So welcome in, 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK on the Shocker Pools hotlines. I want to hear from you. This portion of the Voice of Reason is brought to you by Cheney Door. We have all the fixes for your ups and downs. Don't you worry, CheneyDoor.com. Again, CheneyDoor.com. Make sure to check them out online. Coming up in just a few minutes, we have Amy Lyon, candidate for Wichita Mayor, joining the program in about 10 minutes. We'll look forward to chatting with her. We have at 1 o'clock Jim Howell, Sedgwick County Commissioner, as we do every Wednesday, and we appreciate him taking time out to chat with us as he does every Wednesday. So we'll do that here. Even though without a county commission meeting, we'll still chat with him coming up today. The Democrat debate last night, I love it, so let's go ahead and play this montage, shall we?
It will finally include dental care, hearing aids, and eyeglasses.
But you don't know.
Second of all.
You don't know that,
Second
Bernie.
of all.
We'll come to you in a second,
I do know, and I wrote the damn bill.
I think if we're going to force Americans to make these radical changes, they're not going to go along. You throw your hands up, but you haven't. Oh, I can do it. But
why do we got to be the party of taking something away from people?
No one is the party.
That's what they're running on.
So look, let's be clear about this. We are the Democrats. We are not about trying to take away health care from anyone. That's what the Republicans are trying to do.
I'm normally way over there with Bernie and Elizabeth on this one. I hear the others, and I have some concern about that as well.
It is time to stop worrying about what the Republicans will say. Look,
yes.
if it's true that if we embrace a far-left agenda, they're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists. If we embrace a conservative agenda, you know what they're going to do? They're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists.
You know, I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for.
The wealth that we have built, the way we became the greatest country on the face of the planet, was literally on the backs of those who were kidnapped and brought here by force. I will also sign into law Sheila Jackson Lee's reparations bill so that we can have the national conversation we have waited too long in this country to have.
And I've heard some people here tonight, I almost wonder why you're Democrats. You seem to think there's something wrong about using the instruments of government to help people. So many Americans realize there is an injustice that continues to form a toxicity underneath the surface, an emotional turbulence that only reparations
thank you very much.
I assure you, I lived in Grosse Pointe. What happened in Flint would not have happened in Grosse Pointe. This is part of the dark underbelly of American society. If you think any of this wonkiness is going to deal with this dark psychic force of the collectivized hatred that this president is bringing up in this country, then I'm afraid that the Democrats are going to see some very dark days.
If you are watching this at home and you are a Republican member of Congress, consider the fact that when the sun sets on your career and they are writing your story of all the good and bad things you did in your life, the thing you will be remembered for is whether in this moment with this president you found the courage to stand up to him or you continue to put party over country.
Wow. Wow. There it is, the montage from the Democrat debate last night in Detroit. The purity, the hatred, the absolute just wildness, just going after each other. Either get on board with the purity, the absolutism of the party right now, get on board with what we're doing, or else you're not good enough to be a Democrat. What was that, Williamson? It was like, I can't believe it. We have Democrats up here advocating for, like, choice. Advocating for, like, options. If you're not going to use the full force of the power for government programs, then you shouldn't be up here on the Democrat debate stage. It's craziness. We've definitely taken things to a whole new level, haven't we? 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. It's wild to watch, and it's kind of entertaining all at the same time. And then, of course, you just get mad at your own constituents.
And I'd like to finish talking about Addie, the guy who has ALS. This isn't funny.
Oh, I love it. 316-721-8255. Let's get into a Kansas update. What do you say?
Today in Kansas.
All right, I'm ready.
So we have talking about the outrage and the people that just kind of, like to go and cause a scene just because of the sake of doing so. There was, according to KSNT.com, Representative Steve Watkins, congressman from the 2nd Congressional District, had a town hall just a day or so ago and was confronted by many individuals who just could not understand his support for President Donald Trump, why he would support President Donald Trump, why he would support something like a lack of Medicaid expansion in Kansas, why we didn't want to actually expand government health care, Medicare for all at the federal level, why you would go. He's tearing us apart. It's just insane to support this guy, according to the Topeka Capital Journal, with some of the individuals that were railing on Steve Watkins. He's not trying to bring this country together. He's trying to tear us apart. And according to the Topeka Capital Journal, Watkins deflected the question about whether he would support expansion of Medicaid to about 130,000 low-income Kansans, framing it as a state issue outside of the wheelhouse. That is true. I mean, it is a state issue. It's up to the state to decide. As of right now, it is a state matter for them to decide to expand it or not. And God forbid we ever do expand Medicaid in the state of Kansas, then that would harm us. But they do have an opportunity to change some things at the federal level, as in like removing that expansion option at the federal level. Now, obviously, with so many states that have done it, that would be a very daunting and difficult task, which is why many Republicans are under scrutiny for wanting to repeal Obamacare, but not actually have plans. And I agree. Here's the plan. Inject about 50 new insurance companies with competition across all the markets and see which one's best for you. Let them tailor the prices and the packages to you individually, and then you're good to go. And everything's going to be fantastic. So that is an option as well. But Steve Watkins under a lot of scrutiny when it came to the town hall just a day or so ago, and people just going after him. Now, there is a Democrat, let me see if I can find it again, that has already announced wanting to run for that seat. Abby Hodgson, a candidate for the Democrat Party, and party nomination, running for the 2nd District, getting ready to challenge him next year for the 2020 election. And she was there, had made a comment as well, according to the Topeka Capital Journal, quote, "I will not shy away from the conversations with constituents on crucial issues like agricultural, trade, the availability and affordability of health care, and ensuring all Kansans can provide for their families," she said. So she was there. We already have some contenders going after Steve Watkins in that race, so that'll be fun to watch going into I'm telling you, next election season in 2020 is going to be one of the most entertaining elections that I think we've ever seen. It's going to be the plethora field of 25-plus candidates on the Democrats running for president, thinking it's going to be an easy wash as soon as they get the nomination against Donald Trump in the general election, that it's going to be an easy wash to be able to take over the House of Representatives or maintain that dominance in the House of Representatives, and they're even looking for that dominance to take over the Senate as well. I don't know if it's going to be that easy for them. With a lot of the personal attacks as opposed to topical attacks and topical criticisms on issues, as opposed to just saying if you're Donald Trump, you're a racist, and therefore that's it, end of story. I don't know if that's going to bode well in an election across the nation. And as you can see, with a lot of the heated seats in different states that are predominantly red, that Democrats are trying to take over a Senate seat or even hold on to their seat, they're going farther to the middle. Sharice Davids is, even though she is a friend with AOC in the B Squad, she tries to have a low profile. She tries to stay relatively quiet about it. She doesn't like to partner with them. She got a little mad when the staffer from AOC tried to tie her in to the drama between Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Nancy Pelosi. She stayed away from that because she realizes if she embraces it and she goes for it, then she's going to lose the seat because it's a purple district. And you got to go more on the moderate side of that, which brings us to the official candidate who's challenging Sharice Davids. Let's get back into another Kansas update here.
Today in Kansas.
All right, I'm ready.
So, according to Brian Lowry, writer for the Wichita Eagle and the the Kansas City Star, had announced that officially just a day or so ago that Kansas District Number 3, Sharice Davids, the new race is officially on. Republican, and I don't know how to pronounce her, Sarah Weir, W-E-I-R. Sarah Weir announces the campaign to challenge Sharice Davids as a Republican running for that seat. And she is officially announced. We're going to try and track her down and see if we can't get her on the show, along with Congresswoman Sharice Davids. But there was some comments made because just the absolute attacks that we like to do at times. Elizabeth Arnold. Now, I don't know who she is. She looks like a campaign manager involved in certain campaigns, involved in wanting to get at least get involved in some way to get people out to the polls. We'll share this on our page there on the Voice of Reason Facebook or Twitter page. But here's what she had to say with that announcement of this Sarah announcing her run against Sharice Davids as a Republican for the 3rd Congressional District. Thread time, she says, do you think it's coincidence Kansas Republicans are recruiting attractive young women to run for office? They learned it worked in local and state school board races and the Kansas legislative races, so they're sticking with a winning strategy. Number one. Number two, they continue on. Nobody expects an inoffensive, seemingly moderate suburban mom type to be a completely radically extreme conservative, right? They're insidious because they deploy a facade of feminism to lend a veneer of acceptability to the GOP's racism, corruption, and antisocial policies. Then she continues on. These white, wealthy women wear the mantle of respectable conventionality, making them the perfect apologists and for protecting of abusers. They provide cover for those who abuse the law, ethics, morals, and other humans. They dress up policies that abuse our fellow citizens. She continues on again. The GOP knows their brands stand for hate, lawlessness, and authoritarianism and supremacy. They know the only way to convince voters to support them is trickery. They know their best chance at fooling voters is to run nice women, quote unquote nice. Just remember, nice is different from good. It's pretty revealing that my observation that a strategy of optics over substance and working well for the GOP is causing so much projection. Wow. That's a mouthful for one. Number two, I did comment and I said, you probably need to grow up a little bit because those are just nothing but personal attacks. Why you would first off have to look at because she's a woman, heaven forbid she's a woman running for office, heaven forbid she's a woman running as a Republican running for office, because remember, on the progressive side of the aisle, it's predominantly the groupthink. If you fit into this category, you have to vote a certain way. If you're a minority, you must vote a certain way. If you're part of the LGBTQ community, you must vote a certain way. If you're a woman, you must vote a certain way. If you're a skin color, you must vote a certain way. That's the way we operate in today, which is why there is the hashtag walk away movement, where gays are saying, you know what? I don't like being part of a group. I want to be looked at as an individual. I don't care what my orientation is. I want to think with independent thought. And that doesn't bode well on a certain political party that just last night said either you get on board with Medicare for all or you shouldn't be on the debate stage as a Democrat because we have no place for you, because how dare you advocate for options. They're a little, for the open-minded party, that seems a little off to me. So this individual, this Elizabeth Arnold, these white, wealthy women wear the mantle of respectable conventionality, making them the perfect apologists and protectors of abusers, because she's conservative, she's Republican, and she chooses to run against Sharice Davids as an alternative. Hey, choice. Then you can make up your own decision. Listen to their policies, listen to their ideas. Don't even look at the party affiliation. but you can just choose what you want to vote for because based on not their gender, not their skin color, not how well they look, not anything else. I understand today's times that really national elections especially have turned into popularity contests. You base your opinion based on a 15-second commercial ad. They look really good. They say something sweet. They say they're going to give you something, and then you end up voting for them instead of learning about policy and learning about issues. And it's sad. So let's get back to what we need to here, shall we? But this is, to me, this is a vile thread. A vile, hateful thread with zero substance on it. It doesn't criticize her on policy, doesn't criticize her on platform, doesn't criticize her on anything other than she's a white, wealthy woman who looks like a mom who's trying to trick voters into voting for her because she's going to support abusers and just be a radical, lawless, conservative Republican that doesn't care about policy in any way, shape, or form. That's the entire thread here. Now, how does that help the political system? You want to talk about divisiveness? That's what causes it. Let's talk about some policy, shall we? But she won't. So I don't know who this Elizabeth Arnold is, but well done. You've essentially shown that, you're a hate monger is what you are. Bottom of the hour news coming up. Looking forward to shifting gears a little bit. We'll get into a local election. Remember, coming up on Tuesday, August 6th, we have the primary right here in the local area. School board, mayor, city council. You want to talk about things that can affect us here in the community and make communities a better place? These are the elections you focus on, which is what we're going to do when we come back. Amy Lyons in studio with us. We'll chat with her coming up on her platform, running for mayor for the city of Wichita, right here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
Progressives like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren dominated a Detroit debate stage last night.
You know, I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for.
Tonight, a centrist will be at center stage. Joe Biden will meet with Kamala Harris and 8 other rivals for round 2. President Trump on Twitter taking on Democrats, predicting an economic sinkhole if one of them wins. The judge says alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein won't face trial until June of next year at the earliest. Epstein's defense is arguing they'll need months more than that to prepare. Broadway has lost one of its biggest influencers.
Life is a cabaret, old chum.
Hal Prince, who created hits like Cabaret, West Side Story, Fiddler on the Roof, and Sweeney Todd, has died. He was 91. I'm Jan Johnson.
Youth vaping is a serious problem. One issue, flavored vapor products that help adult smokers switch, but may also appeal to youth. To address it, Juul Labs stopped the sale of non-tobacco and non-menthol-based flavored Juul pods to over 90,000 traditional retail stores. Learn more about Juul Labs' efforts to combat youth vaping at juul.com/youth-prevention. Juul Labs, for adult smokers only. Paid for by Juul Labs.
Plants capture CO2. What if we could help industrial plants capture it too? Think how we could help lower emissions. More and more scientists think carbon capture is key to reducing CO2 emissions globally. It's one way ExxonMobil is helping industrial plants be more like plants. That's the unexpected energy of ExxonMobil.
100%. Mid-America Network News. A former Kansas City police officer has been charged months after he was involved in a fatal crash outside the stadium where the Kansas City Chiefs play. The Kansas City Star reports that 34-year-old Terrell Watkins has been charged with first-degree involuntary manslaughter, along with other charges. Watkins was off-duty and driving on Interstate 435 when he slammed into the back of a car on October 21st. The driver of the car was killed and 2 others were seriously injured. Witnesses say the van had been speeding and making numerous lane changes as it passed other vehicles. Auditors say a Kansas fund designed to create jobs sometimes awards funds to groups that are not clearly related to economic development. The State Department of Commerce controls the Kansas Job Creation Fund. In an audit released this week, auditors reported the agency had no written policies to guide how the funds are awarded. I'm Stephanie Austin.
I'm Jeff Longwell, and I'm your mayor. We've worked hard the last 4 years to make Wichita a better place. Increased public safety with 60 more police officers on the street and our new integrated care team for better 911 response. Increased quality of life and development in downtown, along the river corridor, and throughout Wichita. We've accomplished all of this while creating a city budget surplus for 2 years in a row. Let's continue building a better Wichita together. Vote Jeff Longwell for mayor on August 6th.
Paid for by Jeff Longwell for Mayor Committee, Mike Kuckelman, Treasurer.
Good morning. This is Kerry with the El Dorado Livestock Auction. This week we've got a good run of cattle for you. We'll probably have around 2,500 head this week. Some of our featured consignments will be 485 head of mixed heifers that'll be coming off of grass. That'll be weighing 8.5 to 9. We'll have a group of 250 mixed steers that'll be weighing 850 to 950. We'll have a group of 300 mixed heifers that'll be weighing 850 to 950. Then we're going to have a group of 260 mixed steers and heifers that'll be weighing 900 to 1,000. If you want to see a full list of our consignments this week, go check out our website, which is www.eldoradolivestock.com. And if you have any questions or have any consignments you'd like to give us a call at 316-320-3212.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. Mostly sunny and windy this afternoon. High today of 96. Gusts up to 26 miles per hour. Partly cloudy overnight. Low of 75. Windy at times. Tomorrow mostly sunny. Breezy again with gusts up to 28 miles per hour and a high of 96. I'm Rich Summers. That's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 12:35, it's currently 90 degrees.
Catholic Mass, live from the Cathedral in downtown Wichita, Sunday mornings at 8:30 on KQAM. Sometimes you just need an alpha male.
I feed off this. I love this stuff. This is what gives me energy. Saying I'm gonna do something, putting it out there for the world to see, and then going out and doing it. There's no better feeling in the world than that, and it's as easy as that. Say what you're gonna do, and go and do it.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
That's kind of what it's all about, right? Welcome into the show. 35 minutes past the hour. Great to have you along for the ride. AM and FM radio, KQAMradio.com. We're also on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, streaming all over the place. So if you're watching, great. Thank you for that. If not, then the heck, man. Come on. Get on board with the times. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. Let's shift gears a little bit. As you know, we are 6 days away from a primary, and you want to talk about local engagement, local activism, about the best way you can get involved. This is the way to do it, to change the community, because the communities, I'm telling you, politics is going to go back to the local level. You can have fun talking about national stuff. At the end of the day, how much influence do you actually have on it? As opposed to being involved in city council and the mayor's races and what's going on with the community and what's going on with your homeowners association or the county commission, whatever it is, you can have a say on that. They'll listen to you, and that's how we change things. And when different communities do that, then we have opportunity to really make a difference. And when we make a difference, other states and other places start looking and saying, what are they doing that's working out so well? And that's what we're all about. So let's get into it with our primary, and let's do what?
It's time to get to know the candidate.
And in studio with us here, we have, it helps if I actually turn on the audio a little bit there. We have in studio with us candidate for the mayor for the city of Wichita, Amy Lyons with us. Amy, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me in.
Absolutely. I appreciate it very much. It's great to get you in here. Thank you for joining us with the forum a couple of days ago. That was a lot of fun. What'd you think of it?
I thought that was absolutely one of the best forums because we were able to have a healthy dialogue and respond. There's nothing more frustrating in a forum or a debate that's not really a debate when you can't respond or if somebody says something that's totally inaccurate.
Sure.
You have to have that ability to come back and say, wait a minute. And so that was really good. I thought it was the best one I have been in. So.
Good. Well, I'm glad. We appreciate that very much. We're going to try and do some more going into the general election and other races as well. So we definitely want to try and get that information out there. For those listeners that may not know, you talk about your background a little bit and what led you to the point of running for mayor.
Well, I've spent 22 years in a global corporate environment. Okay. So been in leadership for a very long time. I have a degree in organizational management and leadership.
Okay.
And so, and I've worked extensively with budgets. And so, when you look around and you see what's going on here in our city, I, constantly was coming back to this has to be done differently. We can absolutely do this differently. And I've come from technology. So I've always sat there and thought, why are we not, using technology to have more engagement in the community?
Sure.
People don't feel like they're informed for whatever reason that may be, but we should be able to have that dialogue. There's nothing I really hate more than you elect somebody and then you don't hear from them again, or you don't know what's going on and it's in some fine print. There should be that bi-directional conversation online. We should be seeking the input of the community when we're not in an election, because not everything gets voted on.
Sure.
So I believe in data-driven decisions, and I'm a firm believer in that. So if the data tells you to go a certain way, you have to use some common sense as well.
Right.
But I really think that our city is missing the business acumen, experience, leadership that is needed to negotiate those tough deals. So that's really what brought me here.
Sound kind of like the Donald Trump walking in and say,
oh
the
my
business
gosh,
is a business person, and I'm going to make the big deals. It's going to be huge.
I'm going to make, well, you know what? I would say this. In my negotiations, I always get a lot more back. I always get a lot in return for my negotiations. I don't just say, you're going to come here and build stuff and then not get something in return. You have something that you need. That's the time to negotiate.
Sure.
If you have any area of the city that you need something and you don't necessarily have in the budget, some of these contractors can step up.
Sure.
They're given a lot of quality land and business deals, and I just think there's some deals to be made there.
Sure. Well, and that's what I wanted to ask. Kind of the focus of your campaign and what you'd like to focus on as mayor. Is it a lot of the bringing new business in and working on contracts with land development? Is it working on budgetary issues? What's been kind of the driving force of what you'd like to really focus on if you became mayor?
Well, I think there's some quick hits. I think that we're in absolute crisis mode with our water. So I don't understand why we're going to wait till 2024. And I know things have to move in, according to budget and everything else. But when there is that kind of situation, you need to stop. I come from the philosophy of leaders eat last and you fail fast. So if you're going to have an issue, you do it quickly and you regroup and you move on. I think for me, it's not only my business skills and my experience globally, but I think it's also looking at Wichita as more of a regional development opportunity. We focus so much on downtown and just our city.
Sure.
And if we looked at it more regionally, if you think of Kansas City and all the outlying cities around that, it's really kind of melded into one, but it's helped with opportunity, which has helped those communities thrive and do better.
Sure.
So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Let's look at it regionally. And then I also think, I'm a veteran. And
well, thank you for your service.
Well, thank you. On my campaign team, it's 62 years of service. We have 2 combat vets, all women. And then we have 50 years of community activism on our team. But I think it's that service to my country and my community that I've never stopped.
Sure.
I'm embedded in the community in a lot of different ways. Habitat, interfaith, a few other areas. And so I think that we have to have somebody that is not afraid to go out and work in the community, not talk about it.
Sure.
We have a lot of talkers about it, but they're not actually doing it. So that's really important for me.
Sure.
The business skills and the community investment. I think you have to have both.
Sure. What kind of ideas could we have, and we've talked about this with all the candidates so far, is the fact that the Kansas economy has been struggling. We see national GDP growth, 3.5%, 4%. Things are doing really well. Business growth, unemployment's down. Kansas has been struggling. We're actually the only state in the nation since the Trump tax cuts that haven't seen business growth in the state as a whole. We went down by 0.1%, which isn't much, but it's still substantial, and everybody else is growing. How do we bring industry, diversity, new jobs to the Wichita area in an environment where the state isn't necessarily healthy, but there's opportunities that maybe we could do something as a city.
Well, I think one thing is we behave very small. We behave very small, and we're way behind times. And I think for being the largest city in Wichita, we really need to step up and show that we're the largest city. I also think that we look at business and we don't really carefully think it through as far as what would marry up nicely with other businesses. We don't consult on a regular basis our stakeholders. We have a plethora of boards and committees, and I mean, oh my gosh, it's dizzying. Like I can't even, like I have a whole whiteboard trying to figure it out. So I think if we consolidated some of our efforts and really looked at, like the KU Med deal.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to sell the property and they're going to bring in a private medical school. But we never consulted with KU Med. What if we talked with KU Med and said, okay, what would be an industry that totally complemented what you're in need of?
Sure.
So then you have something to bring an industry or a company into, and that's married up with something else rather than competing.
Sure.
The other night, what I found still a little alarming is when we talk about the baseball field, that it's going to be this gathering place and an ice skating rink. Okay, but we have an ice skating rink. And so, I mean, I know it doesn't have hockey at the other one, but I just think that there's some lack of thought process on what would marry up nicely with our businesses that we have here that are thriving and doing very well.
Sure. Would that help as well with maybe the population of the young generation that seems to be moving out of the state by finding the trade schools, or as you mentioned, some of the programs where we talk to the schools, what kind of graduates are you having and what industry do we need to bring here? Would that kind of keep some of the population here as well rather than the young kids leaving the state?
Absolutely, because if you marry up these businesses and then they grow. So I'm a firm believer in innovation. I would love to hold innovation tours or innovation tournaments here in Wichita. And when you start doing things like that and then you help people launch their businesses from that, we did that in the company that I was in until January, Walters Kluwer, and we would actually hold innovation tournaments, and there was like 3 criteria. So there was a chance for 3 winners. Whether it be servicing the community or starting a new technology. And so you really get the young people engaged in thinking. And then you help them launch a business. And you really look at what could be that business that would grow.
Sure.
So there's so many things that we could do, but we can't be Little House on the Prairie. We got to think about we're in 2019.
Sure.
And I think that we have to step out above Kansas itself. I mean, we have to just say, okay, Kansas may not be growing, but if we look at the regional and we really marry up, good industry here with another,
sure.
I don't think we could not be successful. I mean, we would have to find success in that.
Sure. We talked a little bit about this during the forum a couple nights ago, but downtown revitalization. We had the stadium, as you mentioned, that we're working on. We just got the bikes, we got the scooters. But your thoughts on whether it's tourism, whether it's transportation, whether it is finding new amusements down there to do, another venue for concerts, whether it's an art exhibit. What kind of thoughts do you think do we need to do to revitalize downtown or the Delano area, have people really make it a tourist attraction for people to come around and want to come to Wichita?
Right. So I don't know that we'll ever be a tourist destination. However, if we want to bring business here, and we, I've done a lot of studying on this and a lot of looking at what would be some really good opportunity. And I believe that we have to have an arts and cultural district or an arts and cultural hub, if you will,
sure.
kind of, right around corridor, let's call it a corridor,
sure.
around Century 2. I would love to see Charles McAfee do some of the amazing stuff that he did in the 1992 Olympics and around in other cities that he's made, just phenomenal design.
Sure.
And make Century 2 a part of this amazing new design that people could see, but then the arts and culture. And I think you have to really stop and think about what arts and culture really is. It's not just a museum or a sculpture. There's a lot more to that. There's interactive museums that are for adults and kids. St. Louis has an amazing one. If you create that, and in the studies I've looked at, 99% of CEOs state they are not going to move their business to a city that does not have a thriving arts and cultural.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really important. We're not going to attract talent with scooters, but we will if we kind of make that to where it's more branched out. We can't just keep stacking the same things. So
absolutely. What do you think is one of the biggest obstacles that Wichita has? Is it spending? Is it kind of the budget? Is it some of the is it the economy that maybe the state's kind of giving Wichita a difficult time? What do you think is one of the bigger obstacles that Wichita has to overcome over the next few years that you could help out with?
Well, I think having spent time lobbying in Topeka, I think that's critical to get Topeka to know and understand that we are the largest
city.
Big
dog, yeah.
Yeah, you need to recognize us. so I think that's absolutely one of them. I struggle with that, and I've downloaded the budget. I know there's a latest file out there I'd like to look at. I struggle with miscellaneous expenditures or discretionary expenditures when we have so many other issues that we're trying to tackle, like our bus system and a few other things.
Sure.
So for me, I find that we're talking about having a surplus. That's what everybody's touting right now is, okay, we've got a surplus. But yet the city manager says next year we're going to have a $1.7 million deficit.
Sure.
So how does that, I'm struggling with how does that ring true? Or how does that, what is going to cause that deficit? I think that for us to be successful too, when we, like we did the 2017 police study, we have to follow through on what they said would really make us efficient. So some of those things we have to bite the bullet and pay the money, and then I think other things will fall into place. So, Topeka is one of them, and if I think that we don't have a voice up there that very often. I've lobbied up there several times, and that's a quagmire.
It's a mess up there. Yeah, it's a mess.
It is. It's just, and so I think that's part of it. But I also think because people on the outside see that as well. So what's going to make people want to come here to have to deal with Kansas legislature?
Sure. That's difficult. Especially when the state legislature does a retroactive tax increase, businesses, individuals are like, how much should I plan for taxes? I have a difficult time. That's a very big deterrent for both business and individuals who want to move to the state. So,
absolutely.
It really is. You mentioned law enforcement as well, and we talked about this during the forum a little bit too, but we did increase our law enforcement a couple of years ago. They're talking about doing it again with this budget again. Do you think we have enough law enforcement? The crime... where do you think we are with crime? Are we better or worse off than what we've been before? And how do we solve some of those issues in the city?
Okay, so I went down and I met with the FOP, and I've talked to several of the police officers, but then I went on some ride-alongs. So I actually went out, and I can tell you that finishing the 20, we can throw more officers. We're always going to need more officers. So we should constantly, but you know what, we're still struggling sometimes recruiting. So we have to find better ways, I think, to recruit from other states, just like other states recruit from here.
Sure.
But I also think the original study called for 70 officers, so I think we're going to get 60.
Sure.
But if you have a steady stream of inefficiencies that the police officers have to deal with, and that's what I saw firsthand, some very archaic machinery, just system and process.
Sure.
Not autofill. We have to take it to the next level. So I think we have to find the money to say, okay, we're going to modernize the equipment you deal with,
right,
so that you can be more efficient.
Sure.
And then look at realigning where some of the police sit in proximity to others that have the similar caseloads and things. There's a whole mess of stuff in that study.
Some stuff a little bit, sure.
Yeah, so you can't just throw extra police officers at it and say, voila, we're done.
Right.
You have to look, and we pay a lot of money for those studies. They're not cheap.
Sure.
So I hear the other day that we're actually moving on to part 2 or part B, which is interesting because I did not know that or see that, and I don't think anybody that I've spoke to is, but we have to finish that out. There's efficiencies that will also help police. So, just in the car itself.
Sure.
Old archaic things that they need updating.
Right.
Just think if you took some of the time just to look up who you're pulling over or things like that, were more automated, you would actually free up time for the police officers. So we have some real work to do there. I was very We were talking about the head cams or the body cams.
Sure.
And I said, well, they're head cams and they're hot. So, and I felt really bad because they do get hot on their heads. But,
Sure.
they're recording video and audio. So for me, as a technology business person, I would say, why aren't we taking that audio and then having that go into documentation and whatnot?
Sure.
Instead of it just being this, afterthought.
Very
Why isn't
interesting.
it auto-populating information for the police officer so he's not having to type?
Sure. Very interesting. I like it. Amy Lyons, candidate for Wichita here in the city of Wichita. If people want to reach out to you, get some more information, help out, how can they reach you?
Okay, so you can go to my Facebook page at Amy Lyon for Wichita, or you can go to www.amylionforwichita.com.
Fantastic. Well, Amy, good luck to you on the campaign.
Thank you.
With the election coming up here in just less than a week away,
Yep.
it's down to the wire, so good luck. If you get into the general, we'd love to get you back on the show and chat again.
I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate your forum the other night. It was top shelf.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We'll take a break here, wrap up hour number 2 of The Voice of Reason on KQAM. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hi, I'm Bob Tracy, owner of Wood Savers. For 3 decades, we've been preserving and restoring decks, fences, and cedar-sided homes. We do all repairs along with cleaning, staining, and sealing the wood. We enhance the look by choosing stain colors that complement your home and add metal spindles to give your deck a whole new upgrade. Customers will automatically receive a discounted maintenance plan, so you'll never have to stain your wood again.
For a free estimate, call or text Wood Savers at 316-831-9300, 831-9300, or learn more online at woodsaversinc.com.
Hello. Although I am a registered Democrat voter, I am supporting Mark Geeton for mayor of Wichita for many reasons. Mark's organization, the Kansas Coalition for Life, helps abortion-bound mothers with last resort financial assistance by enabling many young mothers just like me to keep their child by providing options that weren't available to them before. Mark and I want to make Wichita a sanctuary city for the unborn, and I hope that you support us in this effort. I also support Mark's efforts to clean up Wichita's water and to fix or replace all of the bad sidewalks in the poor neighborhoods of Wichita. Over the years, it has never seemed to matter to Mark that I'm a Democrat. Facts and ideas matter to him more than party labels, and he has always kept his word. Please vote for Mark Geeton for mayor of Wichita on August 6th.
My name is Mark Geeton, and I approve this message. Remember to vote on August 6th.
This ad paid for by Mark Geeton for mayor.
Hurry into the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event and get 20% estimated savings on select Ford SUVs. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. Modem must be activated within 60 days of purchase through the Ford Pass app on a smartphone and remain active for at least 6 months after activation. Eligible on select 2019 model year vehicles. Vehicle must have arrived at dealer at least 61 days prior to the sale date. Estimated savings include an average dealer discount based on a sales survey of average discounts offered by Ford dealers nationally. Discount may vary. Dealer determines price. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stocked by 9/3/19. See participating dealer for complete details.
Drive Home with Joe Pags. The Joe Pags Show, live at 5 on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Welcome into the Voice of Reason, wrapping up hour number 2. Lots to get to. It's been a fun show. Thanks again to Amy Lyons coming on the program, running for Wichita Mayor. This portion of the Voice of Reason, as it is usually on a Monday, but I was off on jury duty Monday, and it's been crazy. Let's check in with the AARP. Check them out, aarp.org/KS for the state of Kansas with Marin Turner on the line here. Marin, happy Wednesday. How are you today?
Happy Wednesday. Happy last day of July.
Oh, I cannot believe it. We are officially halfway through the year of 2019. We are now going into local election season. We just talked with one of our candidates for mayor in that last segment, and it is a crazy time of year, and it is hot. I do not like this heat. This is driving me nuts.
Well, you know what? Let's just enjoy it, because when we get, those frigid weather forecasts in the winter, we'll be thinking back on this day.
Absolutely. That is true. Well, what are you guys working on now that we're going into the August time? What is the AARP up to for the next few weeks?
Well, let me first say that, I just want to thank everybody who has supported our movies for grown-ups. Last week we showed pom-poms and had literally standing room only. And then we're going to show The Art of Racing in the Rain tomorrow night. And we're sold out there, too. And so just thank you to everybody who comes out to support movies for grown-ups. This is something that we do to make sure that people have options and to encourage them to just meet new neighbors and get to know AARP. So let me just start off by saying thank you for that. But also, we are educating the public about Social Security. There are always lots of questions about that. You know, Social Security is not just for retirees. Social Security pays benefits to people with disabilities and survivor benefits. And so we are providing people with more information on when they should claim Social Security. And can you collect on your spouse's record, or can your payments be garnished? I mean, there's so many questions about it. So we are offering this online seminar. It is free. It starts on August the 6th at 5 p.m. You can log on to the website, www.aarp.org/KS, to register for it. Again, it's a great way to learn more about Social Security, when you should collect your benefits. And if you have questions, you can ask those questions online.
That is a really great forum to have, and really some really important information for sure. As I mean, now I'm young, I don't have to worry about this as of quite yet, knock on wood. But you know, between if I try to retire early, how much could I get, and how much is the money going to be? I mean, nowadays the livable wage on Social Security is very, very difficult. And do I wait a little bit longer after the time I could potentially retire? I mean, that's some really important information.
It really is important, particularly if you are a caregiver for someone who has questions, or if you yourself have questions. And I would say you can learn from this webinar no matter what your age is. So even if you're younger, if you have questions moving forward, or if you are about to think about claiming Social Security, this is a great webinar to get all of your questions answered. Again, it is free. You can register online at www.aarp.org/KS, or if you have other questions, please call us at 1-866-448-3619, and we'd be happy to talk to you about it.
You guys do some great work when it especially comes to the Fraud Watch Show, when it comes to educating people on issues like this, and we appreciate that very much. Because Social Security, again, just like the health care and just like the fraud issues, this is something that definitely affects every single individual. Do you guys have a deadline on when they need to register for this webinar?
Well, it is going to be offered on August the 6th, and I would say you can probably register all the way up until August the 5th.
Very good. I love it. It's the AARP. Make sure to check them out. Go and get the deadline. Go get registered for this webinar. Learn about some of the details on Social Security. How much can you take out? What can you do? All the good details with that kind of stuff. It's the AARP, Marion Turner. We appreciate it very much. Sorry we didn't catch you on Monday, but we look forward to getting back to that next week as we roll. Maybe next week it will not be 95 degrees outside. That would be nice.
Maybe.
That would be nice. Marion, we appreciate it very much. We'll check in again next week with you.
Thanks, Andy.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that very much. There it is. Hour number 2 all wrapped up and in the books. It goes by way too fast. And coming up, hour number 3, we have Jim House hanging out with us as he talks about what's going on with the county, some of the debates going on with the county, and lack of county meeting today, but budgetary issues always happening. Things happening all over the board. This is The Voice of Reason. Why? Because it's your show. It's time to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason, hour number 3. Coming up, stay here.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Continental Truck Accessories, 6701 South Broadway. Show your truck some love with Continental Truck Accessories.
Police have arrested 2 suspects after 2 brothers were shot outside of their home earlier this week. 20-year-old Rogers Gomez was arrested for 2 counts of aggravated battery, and a 17-year-old boy for aggravated battery and criminal possession of a firearm by a juvenile. Both are documented gang members. The 2 brothers, ages 17 and 19, were outside of their home Sunday evening near 21st and Arkansas when a vehicle pulled up. Police said that Gomez and the juvenile exited the car and shots were fired toward the 2 teens. Both brothers' injuries are not believed to be life-threatening. Wichita State University has paid $50,000 to an Ohio professor who said she lost a job offer after she revealed she was pregnant. Evangeline Heiliger sued the university in December after the school withdrew a job offer for an assistant professor of women's studies. She said the offer was rescinded after she told the Center of Women's Studies director that she was expecting a baby. Here's Anthony Georges with the sports.
Today at 4 p.m. is the Major League trading deadline. The Royals are yet to make very many moves. They have traded Jake Diekman to the Oakland Athletics. They've received Ishmael Aquino and Darren Blanco, both assigned them to the minors. And they did release Lucas Duda a couple days back. So no major moves made yet by the Kansas City Royals. Still a little bit of time to make a push as the trading deadline is at 4 o'clock today. The first pitch today is at 12:15. The Royals take on the series finale against the Toronto Blue Jays. From the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Anthony Georges.
One thing you don't want associated with your harvest this go-around is downtime. MJ's Truck Repair at exit 46 off I-135 in Moundridge can take care of all your harvest-related equipment. Combines, tractors, grain trucks, and carts. All the machinery associated with your successful harvest this year. MJ's Truck Repair of Moundridge has on-the-farm emergency service. Roll your harvest downtime-free with MJ's Truck Repair of Moundridge. 800-835-0069.
Polanski Seed, testing wheat varieties for over 60 years, as the only seed cleaning plant in Kansas that uses color sorting technology. We provide growers with the best quality seed possible, resulting in the best yields. Paradise and Rockstar, two top-performing wheat varieties, are available exclusively from Polanski Seed and our 250 dealers. Polanski Seed offers an elite lineup of 17 certified wheat varieties. Visit us online at PolanskiSeed.com. Powered by generations, farming for the future.
A trusted name for quality, that's Burwell Construction. It's the spring storm season, which means rough weather could cause problems to your roof and siding. If the storms hit, remember Burwell Construction. For over 25 years, Burwell Construction has provided quality craftsmanship to Kansas homes with roofing, siding, and windows. If rough weather hits you, call 316-794-3430 or visit burwellconstruction.com.
If it's built well, it's Burwell. Burwell Construction.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
Progressives like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren dominated a Detroit debate stage last night.
You know, I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for.
Tonight, a centrist will be at center stage. Joe Biden will meet with Kamala Harris and 8 other rivals for round 2. President Trump on Twitter taking on Democrats, predicting an economic sinkhole if one of them wins. The judge says alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein won't face trial until June of next year at the earliest. Epstein's defense is arguing they'll need months more than that to prepare. Broadway has lost one of its biggest influencers.
Life is a cabaret, old chum.
Hal Prince, who created hits like Cabaret, West Side Story, Fiddler on the Roof, and Sweeney Todd, has died. He was 91. I'm Jan Johnson.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network, looking at some pressure continuing on our ag futures markets for the most part. September corn now down 10 1/4 at 4.01. December corn down 10 1/2 at 4.10 1/2. September Kansas City wheat down 10 at 4.23 1/2. December down 9 3/4 at 4.41 1/4. August soybeans down 14 3/4 at 8.64. September beans down 14 3/4 at 8.69 1/2. Soybean meal and soybean oil are both tracking sharply lower as well. So a tough start for our grains, and soybeans has only gotten tougher as we've gone through the day. Same story with livestock. August live cattle down 140 at 106.70. October down 182 at 107.25. August feeders down 215 at 140.95. September feeders down 252 at 141.52. Hogs are in a bad spot. August hogs down 265 at 79.65. All the later months are lower as well. Market update from Mid-America Ag Network.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Maximum Outdoor Equipment. All equipment outdoors, from lawnmowers to snowblowers. Just south of Kellogg on West Street and online at MaximumOutdoor.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. Mostly sunny and windy this afternoon. High today of 96. Gusts up to 26 miles per hour. Partly cloudy overnight. Low of 75. Windy at times. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy again with gusts up to 28 miles per hour and a high of 96. I'm Rich Summers. That's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, The Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 108, it's currently 90 degrees.
News, weather, and sports right here on The Big Talker, KQAM.
It's time for Reason.
That's the nature of the beast right now, so let's talk about conservatism, because we can win when we talk about the ideas. And people can't argue with it, because we win on platform when we actually argue the platform, rather than go into these rhetorical bumper sticker type arguments.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, welcome into the Voice of Reason. It's hour number 3. The Voice of Reason broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on the Big Talker. 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting all over social media, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, all that good jazz. Make sure to check us out. We appreciate it when you do each and every day. The only local conservative talk show weekdays. I guess I could say that. Weekdays. We have some other talk shows on the weekends, but hey, the only local one on the weekdays, and we thank you for that each and every day, supporting us the way that we do, and the way we try to do it each and every day. Welcome in 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK on the Shocker Pools hotlines. I want to hear from you on all the issues we've had. We've had a lot of fun with the different Democrat debates and with the mayor's race and with all the other issues going on today. So let's get into a little bit more local again. First off, thanks again to Amy Lyons coming on the program in the last half hour, chatting about the mayor's race, the election coming up the Tuesday next week, which means you have less than a week to vote, either at the early voting or with the election day on Tuesday. So get ready for it, baby. Election season's here. Hopefully we get a decent turnout for a local election, which normally doesn't happen nearly as much. But hey, that's our due diligence, and that's our civic duty, and that's the excitement that we get in order to turn out our vote and punch that button or fill in that blurb or do our thing. So, yeah, get her done. America, it's time for our county update. What do you say? And on the phone with us here, we do it every single Wednesday, even when there's not a county commission meeting, but still important county stuff happening all over the place. Sedgwick County Commissioner Jim Howell hanging out with us here. Jim, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very, very well, Andy. Thank you so much for having me on the air again.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. We enjoy it very much. No meeting today, which means you got a day off, right?
No, I'm in my office all day doing. Actually, I'm actually reading the budget and just doing some thinking, scratching my head on things. I've sent out about a dozen questions to the staff on different things I'm curious about, trying to figure out, how things work. And the budget actually, I think our budget actually, the product we put out, the 800 pages, is very well organized. But even with that, I still have lots of questions. And anybody would read that, they'll probably scratch their head here and there and wonder what in the world this means, or how is this organized? Why is it this way? And it lends itself to many, many questions. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm sitting there reading the budget and figuring out what I want to change, if anything. So,
well, I know that, you and I are dorks like this, so we enjoy sitting and reading budgetary notes. Many people might kind of glaze over a little bit when that happens, but from what you've seen, when it comes to, and you've talked about this a little bit before, that the budget has going up a little bit, we're spending more money. But where are those expenditures going? Are we spending them wisely? Are we investing in proper things? Or do you think that maybe we do need to back off on some of the increases that we're seeing for next year's budget?
Well, I would say most of it's going to salaries. There's some equipment. There's some big pieces of equipment we're trying to buy. And primarily our biggest increase really is salaries. And you probably know this, but lots of governing bodies have not had increases in their staff in quite a long time, and so doing some catch up is going to be, it's about $5 million of our growth this year is for salaries alone.
Sure.
And I'd say overall our budget, if you look at the very bottom number, last year, our current year versus next year, it's about $18 million difference between the two budgets. Well, we have about what's being proposed right now is a $457 million overall budget. That includes the fire district, which is about $20 million of that. And so $437 roughly is what's left. We have about a $75 million ending balance, which is about what it's been. Actually, about $72 million ending balance, which is about what's been. It's been that number for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you this: our tax rate, 29.359 mils, is the same as it's been. We passed a resolution a few years ago that says, despite any technical adjustments that might happen at the county clerk's office after the appraisal appeals process is complete, and usually in October, the county clerk makes a little tiny tweak to the mill levy. Many governing bodies use that as a baseline for the following year. We don't do that in Sedgwick County. We go back to the targeted mill levy rate each year of 29.359, and that's a number we had back about 10 years ago. So we're trying to keep our growth, our tax rate the same, and make sure we are vigilant not to allow those little technical adjustments to add up over time. And one of the things I've done, which I think is interesting, is Kansas University actually puts out a publication that looks at a number of things across 105 different counties, and I find this to be fascinating. We are actually the second lowest mill levy rate among all Kansas counties.
Wow.
We have the second lowest tax rate for county taxes in the state of Kansas. The one that's basically lower than us is obviously Johnson County.
Sure.
And their tax rate, of course, bear in mind, they have more than twice the assessed valuation that we have. And they're slightly larger population, but their tax rate is, if I find it here, is about 1/3 less than ours.
Wow. Okay.
But they still levy more taxes.
Sure.
So our dollar person is actually quite a bit less than theirs, if you think of it that way. So we actually have very low tax rates compared to the rest of Kansas counties. And tell you what, there's some places you don't want to live. This is a little shocking to me, but so Johnson County levies Johnson County has just about $1 billion in debt also, which I find shocking.
Wait, $1 billion in debt as a county?
That's correct.
Wow.
We're down below $100 million, and so we're 1/10 of the debt that they've got. Their tax rate is 19.0. Ours is 29.3. So if you think about it, they're about 2/3 of the tax rate, but they also, because of their high assessed valuation, their dollars they tax out of their communities much higher than ours.
Sure.
We levy about $140 million in property taxes. They levy about $200 million in property taxes. So there's all kinds of ways to look at this thing. So I know people are tired of taxes going up, but I implore people to please know what jurisdictions you're paying taxes to. The schools, for example, on my tax bill have 4 different lines on my tax bill for my school district. If you count the 20 mils for state general fund for schools, on top of I have 2 bond issues I'm paying for, plus the local school district, the local option budget. If you add all that up, the majority of the taxes I'm paying, like most people are, is for my schools, the school district that I live in.
Sure.
And I pay city taxes, I pay county taxes, but it's upon us really to understand the different tax rates in different jurisdictions. Sedgwick County, as a governing body, as a taxing unit, our taxes are almost the lowest in the state.
Sure.
And we're second lowest in the state, so not bad there. But we do see some growth in our budget, and that is a little concerning. But we're also, if you saw last week, we're putting out this integrated care team, mobile comm care unit, and in our budget we've got about $600,000 set aside for that, should that continue after the 90-day pilot. So there's a little bit of growth in government for mental health, and it's a real issue. I'd say most of our property crimes in Sedgwick County are because of drug issues related to methamphetamines, not marijuana, but methamphetamines. And so we are dealing with the property crimes because people are addicted to meth, and they will do things that, and they end up in jail for. They'll rob a bank, for example, and they'll have meth in their pocket.
Right.
We might charge them with a robbery, and also charge them with drugs, but they're not generally, they don't stay in jail because of the drugs. They stay in jail because of the violent crime that they're accused of committing.
Sure.
But the drugs may add to their charges. And so we have some problems in Sedgwick County with drugs, methamphetamines especially, and with mental health. And so that's the growth in our budget relates to those 2 issues. And so, it's unfortunate. Probably one of the bigger questions we've got, yesterday we had a space utilization meeting talking about, and I hate to use the word shell game to describe this, but how you shuffle different agencies and departments around the county, around our buildings to accommodate some of the needs of the courts.
Sure.
The needs of the district attorney is exploding. But part of his problem is because of these body cams. Again, I love body cams. I think they're fantastic. It helps us solve crime. But there's a lot of attorneys and a lot of investigators that are tied to the district attorney's office because we have more crimes there's more cases and more crimes, and every one of these cases literally has usually multiple police officers have body cam footage, and so they've got to be reviewed and it's got to be archived. It's got to be presented to the the defense and the prosecution have to have copies of this stuff. It's a lot of extra work, and so the district attorney's office is exploding with more and more work they have to do because of the type of crimes that are being committed.
Sure.
And so this is I don't know how you stop that. We have to fund those offices constitutionally. The county commission has to fund the DA.
That's an issue that we have to address. I mean, we just talked with the candidates for the mayor's race about the city, with the crime rates in the city and increasing law enforcement and the body cam and the transparency and the accountability and all that jazz. I mean, that's the same issue you guys have to worry about at the county level as well, with a lot of with the sheriff's department on the body cams and the transparency and the proper training and everything. I mean, it is expensive, but yet it's a necessary, and it's something that we need to invest in for our communities.
Yeah, these are hard things to figure out any other option. I mean, we are. In a sense, I feel like we are reacting to what's going on, but these needs are real. You can't just say we're not going to arrest somebody when they committed a bank robbery. You have to,
right?
And then you got to investigate it. And then you've got to talk to the prosecution and the defense, and they have to provide evidence, and they got to do things in a way. You have forensic science that might get involved in some of the DNA testing or the ballistics testing, or there's just the amount of work that's involved in adjudicating a crime.
Right.
However that turns out, that is the costs have obviously gone up.
Sure.
And so we started thinking about the number of crimes being committed in Sedgwick County. This almost all ends up in district court one way or the other.
Sure.
It ends up in the jail one way or the other. So we got the sheriff's office has got more work to do, and DA's got more work to do, and the courts have more work to do, and all the costs of all those things come down into our budget.
Sure.
So that's really the biggest challenge. And so, I wish we didn't have to grow the government, to grow the budget a little bit. But this is, again, we're not increasing the rate of tax.
Mm-hmm.
We are increasing the bottom number, and that is true. But we're also in compliance with the Kansas passed a tax lid. The biggest growth in our budget is not in the administration side. It's in the public safety side.
Sure.
And it's also so under the tax lid, we're allowed to grow the public safety side, based on whatever is needed by the county. But the administration side of the county is held under a tax lid, which says we can only grow property taxes at the rate of inflation. So we have to stay under that tax lid threshold, that calculation. And we of course are doing that, no problem there.
Sure.
But anyway, if you were looking at this budget, it is very complex, and it's a lot of things to think about. And it's the most important thing anybody who's elected to an office
sure.
must do is pass a budget. And I'm sure people say, well, we pass a balanced budget. Well, it's by law. Every jurisdiction, everywhere in the entire country, frankly, has to pass a balanced budget. Very few exceptions to that.
Sure.
Washington, D.C., of course, is a big exception. But we pass a balanced budget, and we have to do that. And I have to tell you, we have some great staff. It's a very, very complex process. If it wasn't for our great staff that leads us down this process, it would be I would be lost. And so, I ask a lot of questions. I do a lot of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'll be making some recommendations for some tiny changes here and there. But overall, I can tell you that the budget has to pass next Wednesday. When I call you next Wednesday,
wait, so the final one's got to pass next Wednesday?
That's it.
Wow.
Next Wednesday is our deadline. We have to pass it next week. So we can make changes during the meeting next week, but I may have to call you a little bit late if the meeting runs long. But
sure.
Next week's our deadline, and so that's how this works.
It is. All right.
By the way, I will say this. It's important people know this. Next Monday, August the 5th, at 6 p.m., we do have a public hearing on the budget, and we would love for people to come up here to the county courthouse, 3rd floor, and tell us what they think about this budget. Tell us how they want us to change it. Are there things we're not funding that they would like to see us fund? Are there things we're wasting money somewhere they'd like to see us do a little trimming here and there,
sure.
or moving money around somewhere? this is their one and only chance, really. Of course, we had a hearing last Wednesday, but this coming Monday is the best option for people would have to make changes to the budget. We want to hear from them, so we'll go as long as people are here, and people have a great opportunity to personally impact this.
Sure. Absolutely. No, that's fantastic. I love it. I'm glad you guys are doing that, and we appreciate that very much, because that's awesome to kind of get to know a little bit about that. We're out of time. Sedgwick County Commissioner Jim Howell, the budget being the big issue and it being passed next week is the deadline, so we'll see kind of where. Now, if there's, real quickly in about 30 seconds, is there any way, if something does come up, is there a way to tweak it, change the budget before the final passage next week, or to delay it if something pops up that we don't know about?
Yeah, actually, we can delay it a week if we have to, but we don't want to.
Okay.
So that is possible. We could push it off a week, but I think that there's great opportunities for change next week. We can change anything we want to change, pretty much, other than we cannot increase the tax rates because that's been locked in as of a couple of weeks ago.
Sure.
But as long as we don't have bigger dollars on the bottom and the end of the budget, we can move money around inside that budget pretty much any way we want to.
Gotcha. I love it. There it is. Jim Howell, Sedgwick County Commissioner. We appreciate the time, my friend. Enjoy your week, and we'll look forward to doing it again next Wednesday.
Thank you so much. You have a good day as well.
You as well. We appreciate it very much. 24 minutes past the hour. We'll take a break. Get ready to wrap up the show today on a Wednesday. Stay here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
We've often reminded you of earthquake danger
and the importance of emergency preparedness
and the need to store plenty of water and supplies.
But there are other important areas as well,
often overlooked in advanced emergency planning.
Earthquakes frequently occur at night when we're sleeping,
and heavy pictures or mirrors hung on walls
over or near a bed become dangerous and forceful missiles,
hurtling to destruction driven by gravity.
How to protect yourself?
Move all wall-hung items, especially heavy mirrors, as far from beds as possible.
And have all frame pictures refitted with plastic rather than glass.
For big wall-mounted mirrors or those on sliding closet doors,
have a window tint company apply a thin, clear film
called hazard glazing on all glass surfaces,
including windows, making them shatterproof.
Finally, take a full look around.
And move, bolt down, or secure anything that might shake loose or fall your way.
Secure bedrooms and you'll sleep better.
For more tips, visit our website at onthehouse.com.
Did you know your concrete porch and steps, patio, pool deck, garage floor, even your ugly laminate countertops can be resurfaced with real stone as easily as painting? I'm Peter Deitch, president of Deitch Coatings, and I'm here to say you can. Tastefully accent surfaces all around your home with just a roller and a brush to achieve beautiful, high-performance stone finishes that last. Why wait? Deitch Coatings are available to you factory direct and online at homedepot.com. Plan your next project at DeitchCoatings.com. That's DAICH Coatings.com.
Hey, it's Joe Pags coming up. Didn't get very far into the Democratic debate last night. Had to shut it off and watch paint dry. But there are some takeaways. We'll get into it. Plus, former Representative Ted Poe, right here on the Joe Pags Show. Today at 5 on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
The Joe Pags Show, weekdays at 5 on the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM.
Hi, this is Brian Davis.
It most certainly is.
And this is Blake Davis with some cool beer specials for this hot summer. All Coors, Miller Lite, and Bud Family 24-pack 12-ounce cans, just $16.99.
Each Davis Liquor outlet is independently owned and operated. Excludes 31st and Meridian.
Baseball season is in full swing. It's a good thing Matt secured his denture with Super Poly Grip. Now he can enjoy the snacks as much as the game.
Poly Grip. Great to see you.
It's that time of year when the family meets up.
Hi, come on. Get together, guys. Family photo.
It's a good thing Jack cleans his denture with Polydent so he can enjoy the whole day with confidence.
Polydent.
Hello, my name is Mark Gietzen, and I'm running for mayor of Wichita. I am a Marine Corps veteran, the owner of Gietzen Aerial Services, the president of the Kansas Republican Assembly, the chairman of the Kansas Coalition for Life, and a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I love Wichita, and I want to see Wichita prosper and grow. The best way to assure a thriving community is to attract growing businesses, which in turn provide good jobs. The best way to attract and keep great businesses is to limit or reduce the tax burden on them, particularly the city portion of property taxes. I will never raise your taxes. Wichita is a beautiful city, but little things like bad sidewalks, so common in the poor neighborhoods of Wichita, could easily be fixed for a small amount of money and would add dramatically to the overall positive image of our city. Please vote Mark Gietzen for mayor on August 6th.
Mr. Davis, is bourbon really just a cool weather drink?
We at Davis Liquor know that bourbon is popular year-round. And right now at Davis Liquor Outlet, Maker's Mark 1.75 liters are just $46.99 and 750 mLs $25.99.
Davis Liquor Outlet, each store independently owned and operated, excludes 31st and Meridian.
Your only local conservative talk show. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. 11 to 2 on KQAM.
I know that budgetary numbers are not like the most sexy thing to talk about on the radio, and it can get kind of boring and you glaze over a little bit, but it's so important. And the fact that we have such important things going on in our local community, this is how we address it. This is what we can do. I'm glad you stick with us on that. I'm glad you want to learn about that, and we dive deeper into the issues, unveiling the layers of the onion, have a little fun with it at the same time, because it is so important. But and we try and keep it lighthearted at least, but at the same time, city budgets, county budgets, it's time for them to pass them, get them done, and get them ready for next year. Are we going backwards? Are we going forwards? Where are we going when it comes to actually passing budgets? And are we spending more money? And what kind of taxes will we see to spend on new things in the area? That's up to you. That's up to you. We can do the best we can. It's whether it actually happens or not. Craziness. We'll talk about some of that and more, wrapping up the show, plus open lines to you. I want to get back into the Democrat debate and a few other things here as we wrap up today. Dave Ramsey, that's his name. He's coming up in about a half hour from now. We'll have some fun with that as well. This is The Voice of Reason on a Wednesday on KQAM. Stay tuned.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
As expected, the Federal Reserve has cut its key policy rate. The quarter-point reduction is big news because it's the first in a decade. The Fed says it wants to guard against what it calls uncertainties in the economic outlook. Another petrochemical fire burning near Houston, this time at an ExxonMobil refinery, sending a massive plume of black smoke into the air. Local reports say school kids around Baytown are being kept indoors, and the company says neighbors should shelter in place. The head of the Democratic National Committee, Tom Perez, says he expects key issues will be the focus of tonight's debate, round 2 in Detroit.
We believe that health care is a right for all, not a privilege for a few. We believe that the economy should work for everybody, not just a few at the top. We believe that America's at its best when we're united, not divided.
President Trump is tweeting that his Democratic rivals would lead the country into an economic sinkhole. I'm Jan Johnson.
At Fidelity, we believe nothing should come between you and your money. So we're introducing zero account fees with zero minimums to open an account. All because we want you to invest with zero trade-offs. Visit fidelity.com/value to learn more. Zero account minimums and zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Expenses charged by investments such as funds and managed accounts and for commissions, interest charges, or other expenses for transactions may still apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
Today, business happens here, and virtually anywhere. Because today, innovative companies are reinventing the way business happens, and they need people who can keep up. With the expertise and technology to get packages to over 150 million delivery points. So, who can help you deliver the future of commerce? The United States Postal Service. See why we deliver more e-commerce packages to homes than anyone at USPS.com/future.
It works.
Mid-America Network News. A Wyandotte County government official has resigned after being found guilty of misdemeanor battery against a female employee. A jury yesterday convicted Dennis Laughlin of grabbing Maddie Waldeck in May of 2018 and pushing her against a wall during what had been a lighthearted conversation with her colleagues after work. He resigned yesterday after the jury verdict. KCUR reports that Laughlin was Waldeck's boss. A Lawrence developer has been convicted of illegally disposing of roofing material containing asbestos while remodeling a country club. The Lawrence Journal-World reports that jurors deliberated about 2 hours before finding Thomas Fritzl guilty of 3 federal charges related to the failure to properly handle the debris. Federal prosecutors say that Fritzl was aware that the Alvamar Country Club contained asbestos and did not follow state disposal requirements. I'm Stephanie Austin.
Board-certified podorthist John Galbraith with Unique Feet Podorthics explains Unique Feet Podorthics does much more than just diabetic foot care.
We work on a lot of different issues. Accident victims, people who have deformities, of course with the diabetic population. And we also work with people with arthritis, fractures, plantar fasciitis. Some people have hammer toes, bunions, or Taylor's bunions. And we work with all of those things.
Unique Feet Podorthics of Wichita, 687-9188, 687-9188.
Hi, this is Phil Martinez at Phil's Coins. At the shop, we talk all the time about honesty and integrity. And in our shop, we've decided that honesty means nothing without integrity. So what I would tell you is that if you didn't bring your coins to Phil's Coins, honestly, you didn't get enough money for what you have. Come see us at Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central, or online at philscoins.com.
The Laundry Station in Wichita is Kansas' premier laundry services provider. The Laundry Station has machines for all of your needs in the Wichita area. In fact, the largest machine can handle 10 loads at a time. And for those of you who are not do-it-yourselfers, the Laundry Station's premium wash, dry, fold service allows you to drop off and pick up your laundry the same day in most cases. Conveniently located in the heart of Wichita, on Oliver at Kellogg. The Laundry Station, and online at thelaundrystationks.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. Mostly sunny and windy this afternoon. High today of 96. Gusts up to 26 miles per hour. Partly cloudy overnight. Low of 75. Windy at times. Tomorrow mostly sunny. Breezy again with gusts up to 28 miles per hour and a high of 96. I'm Rich Summers. That's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 1:35, it's currently 92 degrees.
Join the KQAM News team every day with Rick and Stephanie only on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM. Keeping reason in the world of politics.
But if you're really angry, why in the first place are you not frustrated and angry to the fact that you have to spend $250 to $600 of your own cash to be able to provide resources in the classroom?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
You know, that is an outstanding question, but yet it's still one that's gone unanswered by many of our state legislators. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Wrapping up the program today, 35 minutes past the hour on a post Monday, the pre-Friday, getting set, getting ready to go for the weekend. The light is at the end of the... I hate calling it hump day because everybody calls it hump day, so we got to call it something different. And it may be elongated with the post Monday, the pre-Friday. I don't care. It's the middle of the week and we should celebrate and such. Welcome in 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK on the Shocker Pools hotlines. I want to hear from you and your thoughts with all the issues of the day. It's open lines to you for the last half hour of the program. This half hour of the program is brought to you by Wildwood Cellars. It's more than just buying that bottle of wine, but you can learn about the tips and tricks to find the wine that you like, not the wine you're supposed to like. There is a difference. Whether you like the dry or the sweet doesn't really matter. The semi in between, there's a lot of options for you. Whether it's the flavored stuff, the elderberry, the strawberry, the chocolate, the jalapeno, the peach, doesn't matter. The sangrias as well. Even the meads made with honey instead of sugar because it's healthy for you, so you can drink more of it. Ha! At least that's my thought process. It's Wildwood Cellars. You can try it before you buy it. Go to one of their locations. You can taste test it before you walk out, which is always great as well. Wildwood Cellars, right off the Turnpike in Mulvane or in Wichita here at Maple and Ridge, online at wildwoodsellars.com. Again, wildwoodsellars.com. And by the way, if you live out of the state, go on the website. You can order it. They'll ship it to you as well out of state, and therefore you can enjoy it just as much as anybody right here in the Kansas area. 316-721-8255. Debate last night.
You know, healthcare is so personal to all of us. Never forget when my 12-year-old son had a heart attack within 24 hours of his life. Had to be life flighted to Salt Lake City. But because we had good insurance, He's here with me tonight. At the end of the day, I'm not going to support any plan that rips away quality health care from individuals. This is an example of wish list economics. It used to be just Republicans who wanted to repeal and replace. Now many Democrats do as well. We can get there with a public option, negotiating drug prices, ending.
Thank you, Governor Bullock.
There you go. That was John Delaney, the crazy radical right-wing nut that refuses to get in line with the Democrats. As he said, you know what? I had great insurance, great private insurance. It saved my child. Again, going for that emotional plea, going for that emotional argument, trying to win support of individuals by saying, look, I relate to you. At the same time, then we have, Elizabeth Warren.
So look, let's be clear about this. We are the Democrats. We are not about trying to take away health care from anyone. That's what the Republicans are trying to do. And we should stop using Republican talking points in order to talk with each other about how to best provide that health care. Now, I want to have a chance to tell the story about my friend, Addie Barkin. Addie is 35 years old. He has a wife, Rachel. He has a cute little boy named Carl. He also has ALS, and it's killing him. Addie has health insurance, good health insurance, and it's not nearly enough.
Well, then she went on because she got interrupted, so how dare you interrupt her?
And I'd like to finish talking about Addie, the guy who has ALS. This isn't funny.
I still think that's the greatest part of the whole debate right there. This isn't funny. Now, compare those two between Elizabeth Warren saying, very angry, very bold, yelling at Bernie Sanders, yelling at the other candidates, yelling at the crowd even. This isn't funny. Between that, saying, I know a person who has, and this is the story that I'm going to use for my political hype and my political story and yada, 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 to someone like John Delaney who says, public option should be there, but at the same time, why get rid of private insurance and force people out of it? Because I have my own story.
Health care is so personal to all of us. Never forget when my 12-year-old son had a heart attack within 24 hours of his life. Had to be life-flighted to Salt Lake City. But because we had good insurance, he's here with me tonight. At the end of the day, I'm not going to support any plan that rips away quality health care from individuals. This is an example of wish list economics. It used to be just Republicans who wanted to repeal and replace. Now many Democrats do as well. We can get there with a public option, negotiating drug prices, ending.
Thank you, Governor Bullock.
Wow. Yeah. There it is. It's wild. It's crazy. That was Governor Bullock there, the new one that jumped in, which, by the way, if you don't know the rules for the Democrats, you can have 25 Democrat presidential candidates. When Eric Swalwell stepped aside and stepped down, then this guy, Bullock, the governor from Montana, he stepped in, so now there are 25 candidates again. So it's still the crazy show, or maybe he's been in there for a while and it was somebody else that jumped in, but he just had, the amount of money, amount of support to be able to do it now. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. There's 25 of them. There's only 20 that are doing debates, and there are a few that are very angry about that because how dare that, they leave 5 of them out because they're the victims. I enjoy that. So when we talk about the Democrats with their health care movement and the emotion, here's what we get. And again, this goes into the emotion of conservatives and how we look at things analytical, and we try and tie emotion to it because we are very analytical. The problem is that when, look, everybody's got a story, just like he started off with. Everybody, it's very personal when it comes to healthcare for everybody. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a personal niche. Everybody needs something. And remember, you can't micromanage 320 plus million people in a population. So what you do is you try and get as hands off as you possibly can and let the natural effects take its course. That's what you can do. That's the conservative approach. The progressives, they get emotional about every type of emotion. They cry, they get upset, and they want everything tailored to them personally. And they think that once it's tailored to them personally, then it's tailored to everybody because everybody somehow fits the needs that they have because they're thinking about only themselves. It really comes down to selfishness on the progressive end of the aisle. Look at the protesters that went to the Steve Watkins town hall just a day or two ago with our 2nd District Congressman Steve Watkins, and them saying that, I can't believe you support Donald Trump. I can't believe that you like him. He's very divisive. He's tearing us apart, yada, yada, yada. And they go after. Look at the protesters with the Medicaid expansion. It's about them. And according to them, if they get it, then everybody is happy because it's about them. The way that leaders have to take this, and this is a message to all the leaders. legislative, in the state legislature, in our national government, whatever, that because everybody is so unique and special on their own, you have to look at it as if nobody is special and unique in their own. I mean, you have to recognize that, right? And that's harsh, but let me explain. Because it's not the way that it's actually interpreted, which is the way. They're going to say, conservative talk show host doesn't care about the personal individual of each person. I know they're going to say that. But in order to handle each individual story, everybody's got a story. Good, bad, and different. Everybody's got a story on every issue. They have an opinion. They have a life experience. They know somebody. It's an experience that we all have. And every single human being on the face of the earth is different in that sense. So a leader needs to recognize that and handle it as if nobody is special and unique and different, because the way they need to operate is I cannot tailor packages specifically to one individual, because that individual may fit the needs for that one person, but the rest of the people in my district, it actually reflects nobody, which means from a conservative standpoint, for myself, we step back and you get government out of the way, you cut the red tape, you cut the regulation, you cut the taxes, and you let people do their thing, because they are so unique, they are so different, they are so personal in their own individual lives and what's going on in their individual lives, their financial state, their job state, their family state, their personal state, their health state, their mental state, whatever it is. Everybody is in their own unique idea. That's why even lumping them into parties and we talk about party politics is silly, because everybody's different. And therefore, you cannot tailor a bill to certain groups or people because they're all different. Therefore, if you get rid of the regulation, you get rid of the taxes, you get rid of the government oversight, then people can do their thing on an individual needs basis, and everybody's happy, and the government does not interfere with anyone. You would think that would be the way most people actually appeal. And that's kind of sort of what this guy's talking about. But again, he's radical. Radical in the sense that he is a liberal, but he doesn't go with the whole Medicare for all, so everybody fits into one tight little perfect box, and therefore why are you up here on the debate stage? Why are you part of the Democrat Party? Why are you advocating for this? I don't understand why you're even here, because you're not doing what the rest of us are, and therefore you're not welcome here.
It will finally include dental care, hearing aids, and eyeglasses.
But you don't know
Second
that.
of all.
You don't know that,
Second
Bernie.
of all.
We'll come to you in a second,
I do know,
Congressman.
and I wrote the damn bill.
I think if we're going to force Americans to make these radical changes, they're not going to go along. You throw your hands up, but you haven't. Oh, I can do it. But
why do we got to be the party of taking something away from people?
No one is the party.
That's what they're running on.
So look, let's be clear about this. We are the Democrats. We are not about trying to take away health care from anyone. That's what the Republicans are trying to do.
I'm normally way over there with Bernie and Elizabeth on this one. I hear the others, and I have some concern about that as well.
It is time to stop worrying about what the Republicans will say. Look,
Yes.
if it's true that if we embrace a far-left agenda, they're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists. If we embrace a conservative agenda, you know what they're going to do? They're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists.
You know, I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for.
The wealth that we have built, the way we became the greatest country on the face of the planet, was literally on the backs of those who were kidnapped and brought here by force. I will also sign into law Sheila Jackson Lee's reparations bill so that we can have the national conversation we have waited too long in this country to have.
And I've heard some people here tonight, I almost wonder why you're Democrats. You seem to think there's something wrong about using the instruments of government to help people. So many Americans realize there is an injustice that continues to form a toxicity underneath the surface, an emotional turbulence that only reparations
thank you very much.
I assure you, I lived in Grosse Pointe. What happened in Flint would not have happened in Grosse Pointe. This is part of the dark underbelly of American society. If you think any of this wonkiness is going to deal with this dark psychic force of the collectivized hatred that this president is bringing up in this country, then I'm afraid that the Democrats are going to see some very dark days.
If you were watching this at home and you are a Republican member of Congress, consider the fact that when the sun sets on your career and they are writing your story of all the good and bad things you did in your life, the thing you will be remembered for is whether in this moment with this president you found the courage to stand up to him or you continue to put party over country.
There it is. That was the catastrophe that we saw last night. We're about ready to do it again tonight with a new panel of 10 different Democrats running for president with that debate in Detroit, Michigan. I do have to say, Williamson, the author, the lady, according to the Drudge Report poll, now again, Drudge Report is a conservative-leaning website, so predominantly conservatives voting for that one, really trying to just, mess up the whole election and try and, give their opinion on this. Williamson won that debate last night, according to the Drudge Report poll, meaning conservatives that enjoyed her, because she's the most nuts out of all of them, not in like a progressive, like philosophical way, but being an author, being a little on the different side, I guess you could say, nothing bad, but different side, and the way she is and the way she acts and the auras and the crystals and the yoga and the more like hipster kind of mentality. I don't know if you saw this story or not, according to Breitbart, but Breitbart is reporting that the witches of the nation are gathering together and starting an occult movement to support Miriam, whatever her name is. Like, that's wild. Oh yeah, Williamson. The occult, the witches have united to support Williamson in actually doing a prayer and some whatever they do in order to try and hype her up to get more support and to move up the ladder. She doesn't have a chance to win, but the weird forces, man, they're all after it, and they think that she's going to be the one just because she's the author. She thinks a little more outside the box, and she calls them out for the fact that they're not complete extreme socialists, because how dare you actually not get on board with the Democrats, and you shouldn't even be part of the party if you're not going to advocate for the full extent of the government to use that power the best you can at the fullest of your ability. Got to take a break. 10 minutes to the top of the hour. We'll wrap up the show today on a Wednesday here on The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Lower in the livestock and lower in the grains and soybeans. Let's take a look at the markets as we finish up on our Wednesday. Let's check the ag futures markets with Brett Krotz at Schwieterman Incorporated. Good afternoon, Brett.
Good afternoon. Well, we ended up seeing quite a bit of weakness in most of the ag sector. We had the August live cattle down $1.20 at 106.90. October down 142 at 107.65. In the feeder cattle, August down 157 at 141.52. October down 132 at 142.55. In the hog market, the October contract down the $3 limit at 71 even. December down $3 at 70.27. Over in the grain market, September Kansas City wheat down 10 3/4 at 422 3/4. December down 10 1/2 at 440 1/2. In Chicago, the September wheat down a dime at 487 1/4. December down 9 3/4 at 493 1/4. September corn down 11 at $4.25. December down 11 at 410. September soybeans down 15 1/4 at 869. November down 15 1/4 at 881 1/2. And then December oats unchanged at 263 3/4. December cotton up 50 points at 63.86. October crude oil up 37 cents at 58.48. October natural gas with a big day up 10 1/2 cents at 226 1/2. August gold currently down $1.30 at 1428.40. And December silver down a dime at 16.59. We've got the September dollar index up 22 points at 98.03, and the September Dow Jones futures down 42 points at 27,121. And for information on these and the other markets, please call us at Schwieterman Incorporated.
On the next Mike Gallagher show, we'll have all the highlights from the first of two Democrat debates this week from Detroit. CNN has placed Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren at the top of the list. But Beto Robert Francis O'Rourke says don't count him out. Also, Eric Trump will join us to give us his thoughts on the Democrat debate and more. Join us on the next Mike Gallagher Show.
Mike Gallagher, tonight at 8 p.m., right here on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Are you looking to conserve water and have a beautiful lawn? This summer, convert your lawn to a warm season turf grass such as barefoot buffalo grass or Monaco Bermuda grass. Once established, these drought-tolerant grasses provide a low-maintenance lawn and will save you time and money. Contact Starseed today to learn more about our 2019 lawn and turf varieties. Call 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com.
Baseball season is in full swing. It's a good thing Matt secured his denture with Super Poly Grip. Now he can enjoy the snacks as much as the game.
Poly Grip. Hey, how are you? So great to see you.
It's that time of year when the family meets up.
Hi, come on. Get together, guys. Family photo.
It's a good thing Jack cleans his denture with Polydent so he can enjoy the whole day with confidence.
Polydent.
Swing into summer at Wichita Public Golf Courses. It's the best value in town. Find a course for all skill levels, located conveniently throughout the city. Come meet our friendly staff and take advantage of the great deals. You can purchase a season pass to play all city courses at a reduced price. We have passes for singles, couples, and a junior pass. Don't forget, you can host your tournaments with us too. Ready to hit the greens? Just use the Golf Wichita app to schedule your tee time or visit golfwichita.com.
Wichita's morning newsman. Your latest news with Rick is on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Come over here.
6 minutes to the top of the hour, wrapping up the show today on a Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out with us as you do each and every day. Hey, I want to give you some numbers. Just talk about the local activism for just a second. The primary race from 2016, or to what was it, 2000, whatever it was, for the last election here locally in the city of Wichita for the mayor's race, there was a total turnout. I mean, this is people actually showing up to the voting booth and actually voting. This is why we need to show up and actually make our voice heard. We had a 9% voter turnout. That's it, 9%. Now think about it. Out of 400 and some odd thousand people, whatever it was at that time, now we're close to like 500,000 people, I guess, in the city of Wichita. Yeah, a 9%, like 9.5, 9.8, 9% voter turnout for the election. In the last election. That means that very few people actually choose the mayor, and that means that your voice actually does count. And when it's done by, a few votes here, a few votes there, I mean, look at some of the legislative seats. John Whitmer, down in the district down there with the Hayesville area state representative, lost his district by 56 votes, 54 votes, whatever it was, 50 votes, because people didn't show up for the primary. That is how important your vote is. So when you say, oh, my vote doesn't count, my vote doesn't matter, it definitely does. So you have early voting through Friday, you have election day on Tuesday next week, and then we go into the general election on in November, which I get it. I know that this is not the election season that we're amped up for. I mean, look, we're already talking about the presidential race next year. We're already talking about how many candidates are coming on the show and how many candidates are jumping into the race for the U.S. Senate seat next year. Next year's a big race. This race is just as important. It just does not get as much of the media attention as well. 316-721-8255. I mentioned earlier in the show, if you remember, the comments by a certain individual on social media, this Elizabeth Arnold, going after a gal by the name of Sarah, who's running for the 3rd Congressional District and who has challenged Sharice Davids as a Republican, as a woman who's running for that seat. And Elizabeth Arnold has gone after Republicans viciously, and especially this woman, for being a white, wealthy woman wearing the mantle of respectable conventionality, making them the perfect apologists and for protectors of abusers. The GOP knows their brand stands for hate, lawlessness, authoritarianism, and supremacy. According to Elizabeth Arnold, she has gone vicious against that. There has been some attacks left and right, and some Republicans that have stood up and tried to defend this Sarah running for this seat. So we're going to try and get them on the show. I've been in touch with a few individuals, and we're going to see if we can't get somebody on the show to maybe talk about this a little more in detail. Megan Lynn, state representative, who is a Republican supporting this Sarah for the 3rd Congressional District. We'll try and get her on the show and talk about that tomorrow. If not, we'll do it next week. But this is the vile, hateful divisiveness coming from the left side of the aisle that's happening right here in Kansas. And if you want to try and stop it, this is how we do it. We expose them, we call them out, we make them backtrack. But it doesn't sound like she's going to. She's going to love the hype, love the attention. But there's multiple of these, because Sharice Davids represents something in Kansas to the Democrats, to the progressives. She represents the change they've been hoping for. Kansas is a predominantly right-leaning red state-ish. It's very moderate in its Republicanism, but at the same time, it's Republican for the most part. And the Democrats that are in the state of Kansas are so progressively liberal that Sharice Davids is the example of what they want the entire state to be. She is the member of the LGBTQ community. She is a Native American. She's a woman. She's friends with AOC. She is the epitome of what they want. And anybody who's going to challenge that narrative is going to be slandered and attacked so viciously that they're going to look like they're Donald Trump in the Kansas realm. And that's what this Sarah's going up against. Because the progressives love Sharice Davids. She tries to play a little bit more on the moderate side. She's not. She tries to keep her, voice a little bit quieter than like AOC and Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and all those. She tries to, but she's just as progressive and she's buddy with them. She would be part of the B team with them and part of the 5-man team, 5-girl team if she could, but she's got to play it nice. But the Democrats love her, so anybody that's going to rock that boat is not going to be favored nicely, and they're going to be slandered beyond belief. So let's try and fight and make that change happen and try and get Sharice Davids out of office with a solid Republican, especially a conservative woman who's going to want to do it. This is your show, everybody. Have a wonderful Wednesday right here on The Voice of Reason.
Hello. Although I am a registered Democrat voter, I am supporting Mark Geetzen for mayor of Wichita for many reasons. Mark's organization, the Kansas Coalition for Life, helps abortion-bound mothers with last resort financial assistance by enabling many young mothers just like me to keep their child by providing options that weren't available to them before. Mark and I want to make Wichita a sanctuary city for the unborn, and I hope that you support us in this effort. I also support Mark's efforts to clean up Wichita's water and to fix or replace all of the bad sidewalks in the poor neighborhoods of Wichita. Over the years, it has never seemed to matter to Mark that I'm a Democrat. Facts and ideas matter to him more than party labels, and he has always kept his word. Please vote for Mark Geetzen for mayor of Wichita on August 6th.
My name is Mark Geetzen, and I approve this message. Remember to vote on August 6th.
This ad paid for by Mark Geetzen for mayor.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by MJ's Truck Repair of Mound Ridge, Kansas. Sales and service of the big rigs and trailers, plus ag diesel equipment repair on and off the farm.
2 Wichita City Council members have been appointed to Governor Kelly's committee to help coordinate the 2020 census. 28 individuals from across the state will be part of the Kansas Complete Count Committee. The U.S. Constitution requires a census be done every 10 years. The next one starts April 1st of 2020. The census helps to determine how the government distributes federal funds. Wichita City Council members Brandon Johnson and Becky Tuttle will be part of the effort to encourage participation and make sure that the count is accurate. This evening, there will be a meeting about the Riverfront Legacy Master Plan. This plan is about developing the area near the new baseball village from the east bank of the Arkansas River from Kellogg to Douglas and then from the river to Main Street. Residents are encouraged to give their input. The meeting will take place at the Wichita Boathouse at 515 South Wichita from 4:30 until 6:30 p.m. At the sports desk, here's Anthony Georges.
Today at 4 p.m. is the Major League trading deadline. The Royals are yet to make very many moves. They have traded Jake Diekman to the Oakland Athletics. They've received Ishmael Aquino and Darren Blanco, both assigned them to the minors. And they did release Lucas Duda a couple days back. So no major moves made yet by the Kansas City Royals. Still a little bit of time to make a push as the trading deadline is at 4 o'clock today. The first pitch today is at 12:15. The Royals take on their series finale against the Toronto Blue Jays. From the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Anthony Georges.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and Chekhov-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers, farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
At ACE, we believe there's nothing better than helping kids. That's why we've been proud to support Children's Miracle Network hospitals for over 25 years. This Friday through Sunday, get our 5-gallon bucket and 20% off almost anything that fits inside when you donate $5 to support Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And like ACE, CMN hospitals are local, so the money you donate helps kids near you.
ACE is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Offer valid at participating stores on regular price merchandise only. Additional conditions and exclusions apply. See store for details.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
As expected, the Federal Reserve has cut its key policy rate. The quarter-point reduction is big news because it's the first in a decade. The Fed says it wants to guard against what it calls uncertainties in the economic outlook. Another petrochemical fire burning near Houston, this time at an ExxonMobil refinery, sending a massive plume of black smoke into the air. Local reports say school kids around Baytown are being kept indoors, and the company says neighbors should shelter in place. The head of the Democratic National Committee, Tom Perez, says he expects key issues will be the focus of tonight's debate round 2 in Detroit.
We believe that health care is a right for all, not a privilege for a few. We believe that the economy should work for everybody, not just a few at the top. We believe that America's at its best when we're united, not divided.
President Trump is tweeting that his Democratic rivals would lead the country into an economic sinkhole. I'm Jan Johnson.
Time now for closing markets on KQAM. Brought to you by Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize, where we take pride in serving you. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. It was a brutal day for our futures markets, agriculturally speaking. September corn down 11 at $4.25. Later months were all down. September Kansas City wheat down 11 1/4 at $4.22 1/4. December down 10 1/2 at $4.40 1/2. August soybeans down 14 3/4 at $8.64. September down 15 1/4 at $8.69. Mean meal bean oil sharply lower too. The livestock complex fared no better. August live cattle down 120 at 106.90. Back months were all down. August feeders down 157 at 141.52. Later months were all down by more than $1 in feeder cattle. Hogs had an ugly day again. August hogs down 297 at 79.32. October down $3 at 71 even, so not a good day for the futures markets. Steer and heifer slaughter negotiated cash trade in Kansas was at a standstill. In Texas, Nebraska, and the Western Corn Belt, trade limited on very light demand. Market update, Mid-America Ag Network.
Listen daily at this time for Closing Ag Markets, brought to you by Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize, 5204 North Maize Road. Pride Ag Ace Hardware says thank you, not just for your business over the last year, but for the relationships we've built with our customers over the past years. At Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize, we take pride in serving you.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers, conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road, the Kansas trusted jewelry source.